मैं अभी एक ही बात कहना चाहूंगी कि आज जो मैं आपके समक्ष प्रस्तुत करने जा रही हूं, उसमें यदि कुछ भी आपको वर्थवाइल लगे तो उसका श्रेय मेरे गुरुजनों को जाता है, और जो भी कमियां होंगी वह दर्शन के प्रति मेरी लापरवाही उसको समझिएगा। तो इन सभी बातों के बाद मैं ज्यादा वक्त नहीं जाया करना चाहती हूँ। मेरा जो एस्टिमेटेड जो समय मुझे मिला है, मैं उसमें अपनी बात खत्म करूंगी। तो मेरे जो विषय यहाँ पर लिखा हुआ है, तो नैरेटिव्स, डिबेट्स एंड डिस्कशंस इन क्लासिकल इंडियन फिलोसफी, पेपर तो हमने अंग्रेजी में ही तैयार किया है, लेकिन मुझे लगा कि अच्छा होगा कि मैं अपना संप्रेषण का माध्यम हिंदी ही रखूं। तो शास्त्रीय भारतीय दर्शन में आख्यान, संवाद और वाद विवाद, इस पर मैं अपनी बातें रखूंगी। और ये कहना चाहती हूं कि इन कॉन्सेप्ट्स के चश्मे से मैं भारतीय दर्शन के ग्रोथ को आपके सामने में एक उसका स्केच प्रस्तुत करना चाहती हूं। सबसे पहले जो बेसिक हाइपोथेसिस ये है कि भारतीय दर्शन का उद्देश्य क्या था। भारतीय दर्शन का उद्देश्य डिसेमिनेशन ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं था। भारतीय दर्शन का उद्देश्य था मानव में आत्मिक परिवर्तन लाना। आत्मिक परिवर्तन लाने का क्या मतलब हुआ कि मानव में दोनों बातें हैं, डिवाइन क्वालिटीज भी हैं और एनिमल्स वाली क्वालिटी भी है। तो मानव इस प्रकार से, मानव का व्यक्तित्व का विकास हो कि उसकी एनिमैलिटी सबड्यूड हो जाए और उसकी डिविनिटी जो है वह प्रभावी हो। तो इन बातों के बाद मैं सबसे पहले जब भारतीय दर्शन के इतिहास पर विहंगम दृष्टि डालना चाहती हूं, तो मुझे सभी को ऋग्वेद पर आपको भारतीय दर्शन का बीज अंकुर आपको फूटते हुए दिखेगा। तो ऋग्वेद में आप देखते हैं कि मनुष्य, उस काल का मानव बहुत ज्यादा प्रकृति के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट था और प्रकृति से डरता था, प्रकृति को प्लीज करना चाहता था, उसके लिए यज्ञ, आहुति वगैरह वगैरह करता रहता था। लेकिन साइमल्टेनियसली ऋग्वेद में ऋषि दीर्घ तमस का सूक्त मिलता है, एकम सद विप्रा बहुधा वदंती। सत्य एक है और उसको विद्वान अनेक नामों से जानते हैं। तो यह सत्य जो है उसको किसी भी एंथ्रोमॉर्फिक एक्सप्लेनेशन उसका नहीं दिया गया। ये एक्सप्लेनेशन इस तरह से चलता है कि वह सत्य एक है, तदेकम, और वह ऐसा है जो कि बिना सांस के सांस लेता है अपनी दिव्य शक्ति से। वह सत्य ऐसा है जो ज्ञात किसी भी सत्ता से भिन्न है। वह सत्य ऐसा है जो कि सजीव है। आप इन बातों को जोड़िए आज के जो फिलॉसफी ऑफ इकोलॉजी है उससे। तो अभी हमारा वो ध्येय नहीं है, मैंने केवल ऐसे ही ये बात बोली है। तो ये एक्सप्लेनेशन हम देखते हैं। अब ये बात जो ऋग्वेद में आती है इस सूक्त में, तो यह एक मेटाफिजिक्स का बीज यहाँ पर हमने देखा बोते हुए, क्योंकि ये ऐसी बात नहीं है जिसको कि वो निर्विवाद सत्य के रूप में ऋषि स्थापित करना चाहते हैं। वो कहते हैं कि क्या कोई इससे भिन्न कोई सत्ता भी है क्या? क्या उसके बारे में किसी को जानकारी है? कोई मुझे बता सकता है? क्या उस सत्ता के बारे में देवताओं को जानकारी है? तो देवताओं को भी नहीं होगी जानकारी, क्योंकि संसार की सृष्टि के बाद ही देवताओं की सृष्टि हुई है। क्या वो स्वर्ग लोक में बैठे हुए कोई ऐसा ऑब्जर्वर है जो कि ऑब्जर्व कर रहा है कि ये संसार की सृष्टि कैसे हुई? तो ये सारी बातें जो है, यह किसकी दृष्टि है? ये दर्शन की दृष्टि है, दर्शन का बोध है यहां पर। और जब ये सारा बोध जब मानव के मन में होता है, तब मानव में निडरता आ जाती है और वह प्रकृति की पूजा धीरे धीरे यज्ञ आहुति देना बंद कर देता है और आत्मज्ञान की ओर उसका ध्यान जाता है कि बाह्य सत्ता से नहीं, कहीं आत्मोन्मुख होने से तो ऐसा ना हो कि हमको उस सत्ता की जानकारी हो सकता है कि हो जाए। तो वहां पर हम देखते हैं कि आत्मानुशासन, आत्मनियंत्रण या योग, इस सब के द्वारा इस ये आत्मबोध को जागृत करने का प्रयास ऋग्वेद में हमको दिखता है। और इन प्रयासों को ऋग्वेद में विभिन्न आख्यानों के द्वारा व्यक्त किया गया है। वेदों का जो आखिरी चरण है, जिसे हम उपनिषद के नाम से जानते हैं, और उपनिषद का काम है उपनिषद का समय है ईसा पूर्व 600 से 800 शताब्दी। तो इस काल में हम क्या देखते हैं कि ये दर्शन, इस काल में सबसे पहले हम देखें कि दर्शन का क्या स्वरूप था। तो दर्शन के लिए पराविद्या, सर्वोच्च ज्ञान, आत्मा का ज्ञान, आत्मानुभूति, ये सब शब्द हम प्रयुक्त होते हुए देखते हैं। और उस ज्ञान के लिए जो मेथोडोलॉजी इस्तेमाल किया गया है उसको मीमांसा कहा गया है, यानी कि जांच परख की मेथोडोलॉजी। इसके बाद हम यहाँ पर ये देखते हैं कि वेदों में जो आत्मानुभूति जागृत करने की प्रक्रिया, उसका प्रयास जो शुरू हुआ था उपनिषद में, वो उसमें एक इंपॉर्टेंट मोड़ आया कि वहां पर उस प्रयास में तार्किकता को हम देखते हैं कि संश्लिष्ट हो गई है। वो तार्किक रूप से ऋषिगण अपनी बात करते हैं। और ये आत्मानुभूति क्यों जागृत करें? क्योंकि लक्ष्य है कि मानव मात्र में उसमें आत्मिक परिवर्तन लाना, और आत्मिक परिवर्तन लाने के लिए बाह्य जगत के साथ, उसके साथ साथ उसका तादात्म्य होना चाहिए सूक्ष्म के साथ। मतलब कि जो बाह्य जगत है उसके साथ हमारी आत्मा वो किस प्रकार से एक बिंदु पर मिल सकती है। और मतलब कि मूर्त से सूक्ष्म तक की यात्रा की बात वहां पर की जाती है। और ये माना गया कि ये यात्रा जो है वो कोई आसान यात्रा नहीं है, बहुत कठिन यात्रा है। और इस यात्रा पर चलने के लिए आवश्यक है कि किसी योग्य व्यक्ति का मार्गदर्शन प्राप्त हो। और इसी कारण से हम देखते हैं कि उपनिषदों में गुरु शिष्य की परंपरा का आरंभ हुआ। गुरु का शिष्य के प्रति व्यवहार और शिष्य का गुरु के चरणों में बैठकर सीखने की ललक, इसने भारतीय संस्कृति में नहीं दुनिया भर में एक कहा जाए कि संबंधों के एक सर्वोत्कर्ष को प्रस्तुत किया। अब गुरु क्या करते थे कि शिष्यों को, अब गुरु हैं तो शिक्षा दीक्षा देंगे ही, किस प्रकार की शिक्षा देते थे? तो वेदों के नुएंसेस के बारे में बतलाते थे, उसकी शिक्षा देते थे, जिससे कि उनका लक्ष्य होता था गुरु का कि शिष्य का चरित्र जो है वह सबल हो, और चरित्र शिष्य का ही सबल नहीं हो, उसको समाज के प्रति भी, सामाजिक लक्ष्यों के प्रति भी जागरूकता हो, और इस सब में सफलता के लिए ये जरूरी था कि शिष्य के अंदर ध्यान, योग वगैरह ये सब उसके चरित्र को स्टाउट करने में मदद करते थे। और इस सब को और ज्यादा एक कहा जाए कि एक व्यवस्थित रूप मिला उपनिषदों में। और उपनिषदों में हम देखते हैं कि शिक्षण जो दिया जाता था वो श्रवण, मनन और निधिध्यासन, तीनों स्तरों पर शिक्षण। श्रवण आप सभी जानते हैं, सुनना है, गुरु की बातों को ध्यान से सुनना है। मनन जो है वह गुरु की बातों को सुन करके उस पर चिंतन करना है। और निधि ध्यासन क्या है कि गुरु की बातों को जो हमने सुना, मस्तिष्क में उस पर चिंतन किया, तो उस पर हम कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड कॉन्टेम्पलेशन करें। और आप जानते हैं कि कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड कॉन्टेम्पलेशन ही नवीन ज्ञान का प्रकाश फैलाता है। और आज जो NEP 2020 में क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग वगैरह को बढ़ावा देने की बात होती है, तो उसमें मूल मकसद उसका है कि मनुष्य के अंदर, हमारे जो छात्र हैं, आगे की पीढ़ी है, उनके अंदर ये निधि ध्यासन की प्रवृत्ति आए, बढ़े, ताकि हमारे ज्ञान में जो नवीनता आती रहे। तो ये शिक्षण का जो स्तर, शिक्षण की जो प्रक्रिया थी, वो पूछताछ, जांच परख और निगमन आगमन ये सब तो था ही। और शिक्षण के लिए 10 विधियां बताई गई हैं, जिसमें से कि जैसे कि आप 10 विधियों में फोरेस्टिक मेथड है, एटिमोलॉजिकल मेथड है, मिथिकल मेथड है, डायलेक्टिकल, डायलॉजिकल और एनालॉजिकल, सिंथेटिक, रिग्रेसिव, मोनोलॉजिकल इत्यादि। इस तरह से 10 मेथड्स की वहां पर चर्चा है। और इस सब से हम देखते हैं कि बढ़ावा मिला उपनिषदों में संवाद का। और बहुत सारे संवाद उपनिषद के बहुत फेमस हुए हैं, जैसे कि यक्ष का संवाद था, यक्ष और युधिष्ठिर का है। और वो एक था जो अपने पिता को स्वर्ग दिलाना चाहता था, नचिकेता, यम नचिकेता का संवाद है। गार्गी मैत्रेयी का संवाद तो खैर आप लोग जानते ही हैं। मतलब इस तरह के बहुत सारे फेमस संवाद हुए। और उपनिषदों में शिक्षण की विधि क्या थी, तो कैटेचेटिकल उसको कहते हैं, मतलब कि प्रश्नोत्तरी के तरह से कहें कि शिष्य निडर होकर के प्रश्न पूछते थे, और हमारे पास प्रश्न उपनिषद भी है। गुरु जो थे वो डिटेल में जवाब देते थे, कठ केन उपनिषद इसके उदाहरण है। और ये सब जो है वो काफी टेक्निकल होते गया। और हम ये देखने को मिलता है कि टेक्निकल शब्दावली जैसे कि प्रश्निन, प्रश्न विवाक, ये सब हम देखते हैं। मतलब जैसे जैसे टेक्निकलिटी बढ़ते गया डिस्कशन में, और ये टेक्निकलिटी जो है वो बढ़ते बढ़ते वको वाक्यम तक चला गया, जो कि बाद में तर्क शास्त्र के रूप में वो प्रसिद्ध हुआ। तो ये सब जो था उपनिषदों की जो हम चर्चा कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें मूल मकसद था कि आत्मा के प्रति आत्मज्ञान को किस प्रकार से विकसित किया जा सके, ताकि व्यक्ति अपने असली स्वरूप के बारे में जान सके। तो यह संवाद की बात जो हम कर रहे हैं भारतीय दर्शन में, उपनिषदों में हमें वो संवाद देखने को मिलता है। और उसके बाद मैं केवल थोड़े थोड़े अंशों में परिचय केवल दे देना चाहती हूँ, समय उतना है नहीं। तो जब हम आते हैं वाद विवाद पर, तो सबसे फेमस वाद विवाद तो हम देखते हैं, डिबेट है हमारा गीता में। गीता का काल आप 400 बीसी, बिफोर, हाँ बीसी ही हुआ। तो उस काल में गीता में जो फेमस डिबेट है कृष्ण और अर्जुन के बीच में, कृष्ण कहते हैं कि कर्तव्य की चेतना जगाते हुए अर्जुन को फाइट करने के लिए कहते हैं, और अर्जुन जो है वो उसके परिणाम को सोच करके चिंतित होता है। और आज के एथिक्स में जो हम डियोंटोलॉजिकल और टेलियोलॉजिकल एथिक्स का जो भेद देखते हैं, उसका सर्वोत्कृष्ट उदाहरण ये है। तो खैर अभी उसको तो हमारा डिस्कस करना हमारा काम नहीं है। तो अब ये देखिए कि कृष्ण अपने मजबूत तर्क से अर्जुन को फाइट करने के लिए प्रेरित कर देते हैं। तो कृष्ण कहते हैं कि मैं आत्मा का विज्ञान हूं, आत्मानुभूति हूं, मैं वादों में सर्वश्रेष्ठ वाद हूं, और किसी भी क्षेत्र में जो सर्वश्रेष्ठ होता है वह दिव्य महिमा से विभूषित होता है, वह विभूति होता है। तो कृष्ण क्या कहते हैं, एक तरफ तो कहते हैं कि मैं आत्मानुभूति हूं, आत्मा का विज्ञान हूं, दूसरी ओर कहते हैं कि मैं श्रेष्ठ डायलेक्टिक हूं, सबसे बढ़िया तर्क दे रहा हूं। तो आत्मानुभूति को कृष्ण ने डायलेक्टिक से मिला दिया। आत्मानुभूति हमारा इंटरनल एक्सपीरियंस हुआ, और डायलेक्टिक्स क्या हुआ, बाह्य जगत के साथ इंटरनल एक्सपीरियंस को कृष्ण ने जोड़ दिया। और असली में ज्ञान वही है जो कि आत्मज्ञान को बाह्य जगत के ज्ञान के साथ जो तादात्म्य करता है, जोड़ता है, वही असली में ज्ञान होता है। तो ये वाद विवाद का जो चरण था कृष्ण के की परंपरा कृष्ण के समय में जो आरंभ हुई, वो हम देखते हैं कि परवर्ती काल में काफी ये परंपरा आगे बढ़ी, और इसी का परिणाम था कि हमारे दार्शनिक जगत में एक प्लुरलिस्टिक विजन के रूप में हमारा डेवलपमेंट हुआ। हमारे दर्शन शास्त्र के इतिहास में हम देखते हैं कि कॉन्ट्ररी जो वर्ल्ड व्यूज, जैसे कि लोकायत हुआ या बुद्धिस्ट हुआ या जैन हुआ और उपनिषदिक विचारधारा हुई, ये सब पैरेलल तौर पर हमारे यहाँ फलते फूलते हुए रहे। तो यहाँ पर ये बात गौर करने की है कि जो भी हमारा ये वाद विवाद की प्रक्रिया के थ्रू दर्शन का विकास होता गया, इसमें बहुत बड़ा योगदान है बुद्धिस्ट्स का, क्योंकि बुद्धिस्ट ने पहली बार खुले तौर पर आम सभाएं की। 4 काउंसिल्स उन लोगों ने ऑर्गेनाइज किए, उसमें दुनिया भर के किसी भी मत के मतावलंबी आते थे, और धार्मिक चर्चा हो या सामाजिक संदर्भों की चर्चा हो, सबकी चर्चा खुले तौर पर होती थी। और मूल रूप से उनका उद्देश्य था कि सामाजिक और नागरिक समस्याओं पर चर्चा हो। तो ये सारा डेवलपमेंट भारतीय दर्शन में होता गया, और हम क्या देखते हैं कि हमारे यहाँ एक बहुत अच्छी परंपरा ये थी कि जब किसी को, कोई भी जो सिस्टम बिल्डर था या इंटरप्रेटर था, तो वो अपनी बात कहने से पहले उसके विरोध में जो कुछ भी आशंकाएं हो सकती थी, तो उन आशंकाओं के बारे में वो स्वयं ही पहले उन सारी बातों को रख देता था। इसका परिणाम हुआ कि एक अत्यंत स्वस्थ परंपरा विकसित हुई कि विरोधी विचारधाराएं भी हमारे यहाँ लिखित रूप से हमारे सामने में आई। और इस तरह से बहुत सारे इसमें प्रॉब्लम्स भी हुए, जैसे कि संदेहवाद का या एग्नोस्टिसिज्म आया। लेकिन सबसे खूबसूरती बुद्धिज्म की ये रही कि ईश्वर के संबंधित प्रश्न को जो लोग कहते थे कि ये संदेह करते हैं या जवाब नहीं देना चाहते हैं, तो उसको रणनीति की तरह के तहत वो एक किनारे करके उन्होंने क्या किया कि कहा कि गुड कंडक्ट जो है वह मानव का सबसे बड़ा अभीष्ट होना चाहिए। और ये इस कारण से बुद्धिस्ट एथिक्स को आज भी दुनिया भर में सर्वश्रेष्ठ एथिक्स के रूप में मान्यता मिलती है। तो इस तरह से ये तर्क वितर्क वाद विवाद की प्रक्रिया के तहत दर्शन बढ़ता गया, लेकिन अभी तक दर्शन को एक डिसिप्लिन के रूप में स्थापना नहीं मिली थी। स्थापना कब मिली? जब ईसा पूर्व 300-400 ईस्वी में कौटिल्य का पदार्पण होता है। कौटिल्य क्या करते हैं कि जैसे हम सब कौटिल्य को अर्थशास्त्र से ही जानते हैं ज्यादातर, लेकिन कौटिल्य ने क्या किया कि विज्ञान को 4 भागों में बांटा। दार्शनिक वैदिक अध्ययन, अर्थशास्त्र, पॉलिटिक्स और अन्वीक्षिकी। और उनका कहना था कि ये अन्वीक्षिकी जो है इन शास्त्रों को दीपक की तरह से प्रकाशित करता है। और ये अन्वीक्षिकी जो है यह मानव के इंसाइट, स्पीच और एक्शन तीनों को गाइड करता है कि किस प्रकार से सही ढंग से तर्क किया जा सके ताकि हम यथार्थ ज्ञान तक पहुंच सके। तो एक जर्मन इंडोलॉजिस्ट है जेकोबी समथिंग करके, नाम नहीं मुझे अभी अच्छी तरह से याद है। तो उन्होंने ये इस बात को कहा कि अनुशासन के रूप में, विषय के रूप में अन्वीक्षिकी को दर्शन शास्त्र को अन्वीक्षिकी के तौर पर स्थापित करने का श्रेय कौटिल्य को जाता है। क्योंकि कोई भी शास्त्र है उसकी बातें तभी परफेक्टली आपके गले से उतर सकती है जबकि वह तार्किक तौर पर कही गई हो। लेकिन उनकी इस बात पर आपत्ति की जाती है, जैसे पॉल हैकर ने आपत्ति की है। उनका कहना है कि ये अन्वीक्षिकी जो है वह तो मात्र एक मेथोडोलॉजी है, और मेथोडोलॉजी जो है वो किसी भी विषय लागू होता है, तो इसको हम अलग से क्यों इसको एक अनुशासन के रूप में कहें। और कौटिल्य ने अन्वीक्षिकी के अंतर्गत मात्र ये सांख्य, वैशेषिक और लोकायत को रखा था। तो पॉल हैकर कहते हैं कि सांख्य, वैशेषिक और लोकायत को वो एस्टैब्लिश्ड दर्शन के रूप में जिस तरह से हम लोग जानते हैं, कौटिल्य का मतलब नहीं था। कौटिल्य का मतलब था कि मेथोडोलॉजी ऑफ क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग। लेकिन ये बात सही नहीं लगती है। असली बात ये है कि भले ही अन्वीक्षिकी जो है वो क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग की मेथोडोलॉजी के रूप में हम माने, लेकिन अन्वीक्षिकी का अपना विषय वस्तु है। उसका सब्जेक्ट मैटर क्या है? उसका सब्जेक्ट मैटर है, जैसे हम वैल्यूज पर डिस्कशन करते हैं, एग्जिस्टेंस पर, कॉन्सेप्ट्स पर, मीनिंग पर, तो ये सब अन्वीक्षिकी के सब्जेक्ट मैटर है। जब हम तर्क करते हैं, मान लीजिए कि वैदिक अध्ययन में कि शुभ अशुभ क्या होगा, इकोनॉमिक्स में लाभ हानि क्या होगा, या पॉलिटिक्स में कि प्रॉपर इम्प्रॉपर नीतियां कौन सी होंगी, तो सबके तर्क तो समान नहीं होते हैं, तर्क तो सबके भिन्न होते हैं। तो इसका मतलब है कि तर्कों की अपनी प्रकृति का भी अध्ययन करना जरूरी है। यदि उस अध्ययन से हमारा इंसाइट, हमारी स्पीच और हमारा एक्शन गाइडेड होगा, तो किसी भी शास्त्र की किसी भी शास्त्र का बोध हमें सही मायने में मिल सकता है। तो कौटिल्य का कहना था कि अन्वीक्षिकी जो है वह लक्ष्योन्मुख है, मतलब कि अन्वीक्षिकी एक एंड साधन है, साध्योन्मुख है। मतलब उसमें क्या है अन्वीक्षिकी में कि तर्क करना है। तर्क जो करते हैं तो चाहते हैं कि जीते, तो तर्क जीतने के लिए उसमें कई टैक्टिक्स बताए हैं कौटिल्य ने। मैं केवल छोटी सी बात यह कहती हूँ कि उन्होंने बताया है कि विरोधी को देखते रहो कि कहां पर वो थोड़ा सा बोलने में उसकी आवाज धीमी हो जा रही है। 2 मिनट अभी है ना। उसकी चिंता न करें, मैं तो जल्दी ही खत्म कर रही हूँ। धन्यवाद। तो वो कहते हैं कि तर्क करने की विरोधी को किसी तरह से, हमको किसी तरह से नहीं, मतलब विरोधी को हम उसकी दुर्बलता, उसकी कमजोरी को हम देखें और उस पर हावी हो जाएं। एक तो ये बात है। दूसरी बात ये है कि नहीं भाई, सभी तरीके से करना है, तर्क करना है तो परसुएसिव मेथड उसको अप्लाई करें। और उनका कहना है कि इस पर और अधिक विचार विमर्श करने की आवश्यकता है, और कोई भी तर्क जब करते हैं तो वो सबसे अच्छा है कि उदाहरण के द्वारा उसको हम समझाएं। अब जो कि फेमस तर्क का तरीका है, वाद जल्प और वितंडा। हाँ, इतनी सारी बातें जब हो जाती हैं तब लगता है कि वाद जल्प और वितंडा जो गौतम ने अपने न्याय सूत्र में जिसकी मीमांसा की है, तो उसका क्लू तो उन्होंने कौटिल्य से ही लिया होगा। वाद जल्प और वितंडा पर मैं उसको सब आप लोग सुबह से सुन ही रहे होंगे, मैं उस पर डिटेल में नहीं जाऊंगी। लेकिन एक बात मैं बताना चाहती हूँ कि इस जो कॉमन एरा की शुरुआत हुई, तो शुरू के 500 साल में क्या हुआ कि पहले के भी साहित्य थे उनका कंपाइलेशन शुरू हुआ और विभिन्न मतावलंबी अपने अपने मतों से संबंधित साहित्य को संपादित करने में मदद करने लगे। और उस साहित्य में अन्वीक्षिकी को गौतम के जो न्याय सूत्र का भाष्य लिखा गया उसमें अन्वीक्षिकी को न्याय में शामिल किया गया। तो अब हम क्या पाते हैं कि दर्शन के इतिहास पर जब हम गौर करते हैं तो यहाँ पर हमने आख्यान से आरंभ किया, हमने संवाद का की प्रक्रिया देखी और फिर वाद विवाद का इतना लंबा इतिहास देखा। तो अंत में हम क्या देखते हैं, ये सारी बातें मैं कह रही हूं कि कॉमन एरा का 1400 साल, मतलब हमारी गुलामी का जो साल था 10वीं शताब्दी के बाद भी 200-400 साल तक ये वाद विवाद की प्रक्रिया चली। उसके बाद उसका डिस्कशन मैं अभी नहीं करना चाहती हूँ, उसी समय की बात कर रही हूँ कि वहां तक ये प्रक्रियाएं चली। लेकिन इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि जब वाद विवाद की प्रक्रिया चली तो संवाद समाप्त हो गया या आख्यान समाप्त हो गया। आप देखते हैं कि जब ये तार्किकता की परंपरा, वाद विवाद की परंपरा जो चली, तो उसमें भी दृष्टांत को बहुत ज्यादा महत्व दिया गया। और अंत में मैं अंतिम पंक्ति के रूप में ये कहना चाहती हूँ कि भारतीय संस्कृति जिस पर कि हमें गर्व है, और गर्व इस कारण से भी है कि विश्व की प्राचीनतम संस्कृति है, और ये संस्कृति ऐसी है जिसमें कि अभी भी ऊष्मा बरकरार है, नवीनता स्फूर्ति बरकरार है। इसका कारण यह है कि हमारी विचार प्रक्रिया में सतत जीवंतता बनी रही, क्योंकि हमारा मेथोडोलॉजी जो था वह नैरेटिव का था, डिबेट डिस्कशन का था। और जिस भी समाज में संवाद को स्थान मिलता है, जिस भी समाज में वाद विवाद के थ्रू बातें स्थापित होती हैं, उस समाज में जीवंतता बनी ही रहती है। और इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं आयोजकों को एक बार पुनः धन्यवाद देती हूँ।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद मैम, आपने हमारे बीच अपना पेपर रखा और उसमें आपने बताया कि मानव में आत्मिक विकास कैसे लाया जा सकता है। गुरु शिष्य परंपरा के बारे में भी बताया आपने कि कैसे गुरु शिष्य को ध्यान योग वगैरह के द्वारा, श्रवण मनन निधिध्यासन के द्वारा कैसे अपने शिष्यों को शिक्षित करता था। तो अब आगे की कड़ी में मैं प्रोफेसर नटराजू आदर्श जी बोले। जी जी जी।
प्रोफेसर आवाज सिंह जी का बहुत संक्षिप्त परिचय मिला था आपको। ये इसी विश्वविद्यालय की बहुत ब्रिलियंट स्टूडेंट रही, हम लोग कंटेम्पररी थे। और उसके बाद यहाँ
जो अध्यक्ष महोदय हैं ये हमसे 1 साल सीनियर थे और अभी इनकी पदवी भी ऊपर वाली है मुझसे।
हमने कंटेम्पररी कहा। और ये एन कॉलेज पटना में प्रोफेसर थी, जो पाटलिपुत्रा यूनिवर्सिटी का कह सकते हैं। तदुपरांत ये प्रो वाइस चांसलर मधेपुरा यूनिवर्सिटी में पोस्टेड हुई, अभी वहाँ से सेवानिवृत्त हुई हैं। और फिलॉसफी के क्षेत्र में काफ़ी एक्टिव रही हैं। एथिक्स इनका भी स्पेशल रहा है और एथिक्स मेरा भी स्पेशलाइजेशन रहा है। आप मॉरिशस में भी अध्यापन कार्य कर चुकी हैं और आपने देखा कि किस प्रकार इन्होंने ऋग्वेद से लेकर के आद्यतन वर्तमान तक दर्शन का के विकास की क्रमिक व्याख्या की और साथ ही उसमें वाद विवाद और आख्यान का कैसा महत्व योगदान रहा, इस पर प्रकाश डाला। तो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण लेक्चर के लिए आपका आभार। और इन पर इनके प्रश्न को, इनके व्याख्यान पर कोई प्रश्न किसी श्रोता के मन में है तो सादर आमंत्रण है, आप प्रश्न कर सकते हैं। कोई ये नहीं, कोई बात नहीं।
मैं अध्यक्ष की अनुमति से, क्योंकि यहाँ पर यंग स्कॉलर्स भी बैठे हैं और मुझे लगता है कुछ स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं, तो एक बात मन में बैठा लीजिए कि कभी भी कुछ पूछने में कोई झिझक नहीं होनी चाहिए, बेझिझक पूछिए। क्योंकि ये झिझक यदि अभी आप यंग एज में पालेंगे तो आगे जाकर के परेशानी होगी। और यंग एज में ये फायदा होता है कि कुछ भी पूछ दीजिए तो माफी तो रहती ही है।
थैंक यू। अच्छा, प्रभास जी, माइक है?
अच्छा बोल दीजिए, सुनने में आ रहा है सर, बोल।
जैसे कि वाद विवाद संवाद, ये सारी पद्धतियां रही, कोई पक्ष विरोधी को मत को मानना, स्वीकार करना, कोई अपना मत करना। लेकिन जो हमारी चिंतन प्रणाली रही, विचारों की जो प्रकाष्ठा रही अद्वैत वेदांत तक, उसके बाद कोई 2500 वर्ष से हम सिर्फ यही पढ़ाते आ रहे हैं। वैदिक परंपरा, सूत्रकाल, समकालीन जो भारतीय दार्शनिक है, उन्होंने सिर्फ विज्ञान को इंक्लूड किया, शामिल किया और एक नई दिशा दी भारतीय चिंतन परंपरा को। तो जहां तक शंकराचार्य का दर्शन है, अद्वैत वेदांत, वहां भी संवाद या डायलेक्टिक्स की काफी चर्चा है और एक नई बनी, ठीक है। लेकिन जो व्यवहारिक रूप से हम कहते हैं कि हम ये सत्य है, जगत सत्य है और परमार्थिक दृष्टि से असत्य है, लेकिन अभी तक जो हमारी सोसाइटी है, कुछ देख रहे हैं कितना भेद है, भेद अभेद की तो समस्या ही रही है भारतीय दर्शन में। हम कुछ उस संवाद या वाद विवाद के माध्यम से कुछ अभी तक हम नया नहीं दे पाए हैं। कुछ होना चाहिए, वैसी ये कंटिन्यूटी होनी चाहिए, उसी चीज को हम बार बार रिपीट कर रहे हैं और कुछ नया कुछ हमें नहीं मिल रहा। इसी पर अपना प्रकाश डालें मैडम।
धन्यवाद प्रभास जी, आपने कम से कम प्रश्न तो उठाया। लेकिन पहली बात तो ये है कि मैंने जो अपनी बातें रखी आपके सामने में, तो वो उस काल की बातें रखी जिस काल में वाद विवाद और आख्यान प्रभावी ढंग से हमारी विचारधारा को प्रवाहित कर रहा था। और ये जो आप कह रहे हैं कि आज हम नहीं बदल पाए, तो बात ये है कि गुलामी के बाद ये प्रक्रिया जो थी, वाद विवाद और संवाद और आख्यान, उस तरह से दर्शन आगे नहीं बढ़ पाया। और कंटेम्पररी थिंकिंग में भी यदि आप रघुराम राजू की किताब पढ़ेंगे, उसके पहले ही चैप्टर को जब आप पढ़ेंगे तो आपको उसको पढ़ने से पता चलेगा कि अभी हमारी 20वीं और 21वीं शताब्दी के जो उद्भट भारतीय विद्वान भी रहे हैं, वो भी उन्होंने इस परंपरा को सही ढंग से पुनर्जीवित नहीं किया। और यदि वो एक दूसरे के बारे में जब कुछ डिबेटेबल बात भी बोलते हैं तो एक दूसरे का नाम नहीं लेते हैं, उससे कन्नी काट जाते हैं। तो यदि आज तक कुछ नहीं हो पाया तो आगे की पीढ़ी का ये काम है। जब हम उस प्रक्रिया में देख रहे हैं कि उस प्रक्रिया ने हमारे विचारधारा को सतत स्फूर्त बनाए हुए रखा, उसको स्टेल कभी नहीं होने दिया, तो उसको आगे बढ़ाने की जिम्मेवारी जो है वो दर्शन के सभी जो भी अध्येता है उनकी है। धन्यवाद।
थैंक थोड़ा कार्य।
महोदय अध्यक्ष जी, एक प्रश्न।
अच्छा,
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर। मेरा नाम चंद्रेश्वर प्रसाद सिंह है, एज ए असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर जंग बहादुर सिंह धनौर कॉलेज, मुजफ्फरपुर, बिहार। प्रोफेसर आबाद सिंह जी की मैं काफी हृदय हूँ, क्योंकि मैं इनके लेख काफी पढ़ता रहता हूँ। मुझे लगता है कि जो मूल ध्येय है भारतीय दर्शन का, वो सामान्य आदमी को आध्यात्मिक रूपांतरण की तरफ कैसे जाया जाए, लेकिन पूरा मूल और देखते हैं कि अनासक्ति और परम शांति, ये भारत का और ज्यादा मूल उद्देश्य है। तो क्या आज के बाजारवाद में हम कैसे दर्शन को इसमें ला सकते हैं, अनासक्ति और परम शांति की तरफ, ये मैं जानना चाहता हूं।
धन्यवाद आपके प्रश्न के लिए। लेकिन मुझे लगता, आप टीचर हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि एज अ टीचर इस तरह की बात यदि आपके मन में उठ रही है तो हमारे फिलॉसफी के लिए थोड़ी चिंता की बात है। इसलिए क्योंकि दर्शन शास्त्र जो हमने कहा कि आत्मानुभूति की हो, और जो हमारा एक्सपीरियंशियल नॉलेज है उसका तादाद में हो, उसकी आइडेंटिटी जो हम अंदर से महसूस कर रहे हैं उसके बीच में। आप देखें कि यदि इस चीज को हम महसूस कर लेते हैं, या कोई आध्यात्मिकता नहीं है, ये मोरालिटी है। और भारतीय दर्शन जो है उसको अब आप मोक्ष कहिए और दूसरी दुनिया में जाना कहिए, उस बात को एज इट इज मोटे मोटे तौर पर न लेकर के इसको इस तरह से समझिए कि मोक्ष का मतलब आज की दुनिया में है कि सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन, और हम सेल्फ रियलाइज करेंगे, जो दुनिया में समय भी की भी कमी है अभी, कि यदि सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन हर व्यक्ति को हो जाए। आप देखिए कि हमारे यहाँ इतना भ्रष्टाचार है। भ्रष्टाचार का कारण क्या है? सब कोई चाहता है ज्यादा से ज्यादा हमारे पास धन हो और अन्य साधन हो। सेल्फ रियलाइजेशन हो जाएगा कि अरे भाई इसमें से कितना लेकर के हमको जाना है, तो उसके बाद तो सारा उस तरह की कहानी ही खत्म हो जाएगी ना। तो इस तरह से दर्शन को समझने की आवश्यकता है।
थैंक यू मैडम। We are moving forward now. Our next speaker, Professor A. Nataraju. Presently, he is Professor of Philosophy at Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi, and previously he was Dean and Professor of Philosophy at Assam Central University. He has written a number of books and very valuable papers he has also contributed. He has visited many foreign countries. And recently, Dr. Sailendra, I am not aware, Dr. Sailendra was mentioning that he worked with some American university on the concept of consciousness. So, Professor Nataraju will present this paper now.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, everybody. Good afternoon. It's already JNU kids are there. Yeah. Ashesha Chidachid Vastusheshine Sheshashayine Nirmala Ananta Kalyana Nidhaye Vishnave Namah. Thank you, Chairperson, sir, my co-presenters. Thank you very much, Dr. Shailendraji. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks for having me here. और आपको और इस यूनिवर्सिटी को धन्यवाद. और आपसे भी श्रोताओं से भी ज्यादा मुश्किल अवस्था में वक्ता की स्थिति है. It's damn tough after after all of us traveled longer distances today, arrived, and then please, yes sir, thank you sir. And I'll take your 20-25 minutes and then put in one perspective, one aspect. I won't take you through the entire discussions. What I felt was I would speak something on the role of and significance of purvapaksa, opponent's view. I'm not focusing on Siddhanta. We have our own Siddhanta, Radhanta. We have all that, but we'll focus on how we need to do a purvapaksha and where we happen to go wrong. And I'll give you a couple of examples that impressed me through the tradition and Darshana Parampara. Nyaya Sutra 1141, Gautama's Nyaya Sutra. Vimrushya Paksha Pratipakshabhyam Arthavadharanam Nirnayaha. Determination of a question and removal of doubt, ascertainment of philosophic meaning after due process. Vimrushya Paksha Pratipakshabhyam Ardhavadharanam. Meaning after due, philosophic meaning after the due process. So it is an ascertainment of philosophic meaning. Now, a footnote for this would be what I generally call the illusion of understanding. There is an illusion of understanding that, in the sense that I have understood, I have understood a particular theory. I have understood Advaita. I have understood the no-soul theory of the Buddhists. Or the Buddhists claiming that we have understood the Upanishadic Atmavada. There is that illusion which actually runs through our life. And that I theorize in terms of my understanding of Avarana and Vikshepa. I take the help of a framework of Avarana Vikshepa. And Avarana and Vikshepa, covering of an object and a projection of something else. Avarana and Vikshepa. We understand that's a function of avidya. Which is Maya. Panditaha avidya iti manyante Shankara Bhashya. Maya and avidya taken as synonyms in Shankara Bhashya. Therefore, it does two functions. One, it covers up, and the other, it projects. It does it. Therefore, we have to understand it's doing at different levels, different degrees. One, this avarana and vikshepa at a cosmic level, the cosmic projection of the world order and names and forms, nama rupatmakam jagat. And second level, we have to take it at the level of the jivatma, the avarana and vikshepa. And the third dimension of it is at the level of meaning conferring. When we confer meanings, there is also this avarana and vikshepa. And at this third level, I would spend more time at this level 3. At this level, that most of the time we have a difficulty in understanding what exactly the meaning of a sentence is, or a word is, or an object is. And this meaning dimension, if you happen to be a Heideggerian or a phenomenologist, or if you happen to be a Vedantin, cognition and meaning belong to consciousness. There is an innate structure in consciousness that has its inbuilt ability of ascribing meanings to sentences. Number one, meanings to objects that we come across, meaning to the world that we encounter. The meaning aspect is part of an inner structure of the consciousness. And therefore, every indriya that we have an adhishtana devata, adhidevata. And the work of this devata, divu prakashe, in the sense of a brilliance, I understand it as, each indriya having its own inner a priorized structure of itself. When we encounter shabda sparsha rupa rasa gandha, each time there is an independent structure which is giving a meaning to us, whatever it is encountering. The world that we encounter is a product of the meaning, that the way we confer the meaning on them. And there the function of avarana and vikshepa. There is achadana and there is a projection. Chadanat chanda ityahuhu. The Vedic meter, is considered to be chandas. One of the philosophers comments that it is chadanatvat chandaha. Not the meter, of course it is. It is the ability of the words to cover their meanings up and then project something else. There is something. So this unraveling of meanings at various levels is an interesting dimension of our life that is here. So इस dimension को यदि हम ध्यान देंगे तो most of the time हम पूर्व पक्षी को कैसे हैंडल कर रहे, next 20 minutes, इस पक्षी को हम हैंडल कैसे कर रहे, therefore, then we take care of the siddhanta. Then we rush most of the time for the siddhanta. We are least bothered about giving time for what the opponent is saying. And most of the arguments constructed are because of our ill-conceived notion, understanding, and the meaning dimension of the purvapaksha. Most of the scholars writing on Buddhist anatmavada and tearing into the Upanishadic Atmavada, more often than not, are ignorant of the Upanishadic position on the Atmavada. What is Mukshatma, what is Midhyatma in Sureshwara or in Bhamati or in Mandana Mishra or in Shankara Ramanuja, ignorant of a Purvapaksha position. And therefore the Khandana starts. And most of the time it happens the same with the Vedantins also. Before a Vasubandhu text is done, or before we go through Nagarjuna or a Digha Nikaya or a Majjhima Nikaya, the criticism starts. Purvapaksha is not dealt with properly in our philosophic discourses. That's the running theme of this next 20 minutes. Two extremely good examples I'm reminded of when I started writing on this. One example is that of, from this own land, the Mandana Mishra example. We don't have the exact historical evidences for this, but Vidyaranya Swami's Shankara Digvijaya has references. It goes to show that, he wanted to criticize Buddhist philosophy and then went to the Buddhist teachers, studied, a decade over there, and then came back and criticized Buddhist philosophy in his Brahmasiddhi. And then, we know the famous story. it was a story of a Kumarila, or was it the Mandana Vishda, Tushagni? It was the story of the Kumarila, and then he directs him to the Mishra, the Kumarila's, life story. Because he had committed, offense to the teacher under whom he learned the Buddhist text, he burns himself in the Tushagni because he committed something wrong to his Guru Parampara. But what I wanted to make sense was spending time to learn the Purvapaksha, extremely going through the text before it is, countered through the philosophic argumentation. That kind of a sincerity in approaching the Purvapaksha. What is it that the text, the Purvapaksha, is saying? And second example that comes to my mind is none other than, in the literature of the Vedanta, nobody has studied and extremely in such detail as Ramanuja has done in the case of Shankara. I never come across such an example, How much time he must have spent on studying Shankara, we do not know. If you see the Sri Bhashya में अधातो ब्रह्म जिज्ञासा सूत्र के ऊपर, प्रथम सूत्र के ऊपर पहले 10 पॉइंट्स का महापूर्व पक्षा कहा, पूर्व पक्षा नहीं कहा, महापूर्व पक्षा कहा, और वो 10 पॉइंट्स आपको 25 पेजेस में मिलेंगे. अगला 10 पॉइंट्स उसका खंडन है. आज तक जितने भी अद्वैतिन्स है, और रीडिंग ऑफ रामानुजा, the best ever summary of Advaita is available in Ramanuja. That's what Bala Subramanian TMP Mahadevan's statements. The best ever possible summary of Advaita, if you want to read, go to Ramanuja. Don't go to the Advaitins. They have not understood as much as Ramanujacharya has understood. That was the kind of, sincerity when we do a Purvapaksha. So Ramanuja summarizes the whole, thesis of Acharya Shankara, and then he goes for the Siddhanta. So most of the time, what is happening in the philosophical discourses is, I will show as we go through some of the examples as how the Purvapaksha is stated wrong, or is negated, or is, a kind of, you don't give any importance at all. Another example for that behavior is, see, I don't care for the Purvapaksha, is another aspect of it. One better example of that is Acharya Shankara in Brahma Sutra, Dvitiya Adhyaya, Dvitiya Pada. Now, Sutra number, we did a Brahma Sutra workshop. Shailendraji was there at Lucknow. Sutra number 1 to 11 on the Sankhya, and 11 to 20 on Vaisheshika, etc., etc. Up to 45 sutras we did with the Ramanuja and Shankara Bhashya. In that process, he criticizes the Vaisheshika's Kanada, Anuvada. He criticizes the Sankhya. He criticizes Vijnanavada. He criticizes, Pashupata and Pancharatra. And when it comes to Nagarjuna, look at the way Acharya is dealing. When it comes to Nagarjuna, he says, he doesn't require my attention. I need not criticize him. He just, it's a kind of a treatment meted out to Nagarjuna. And Shankara's reading of Shunyata is in the popular coffee table discussion sense of a voidness or an emptiness, which is an absurd meaning to Shunyata. Anybody who does the Karika, Nagarjuna Karika, would understand it. When related to the absolute, it is the Prapancha Shunyata, and when related to the world that is out there, it is the Vastu Shunyata or the Swabhava Shunyata. But Shankara takes it in a sense of, that it is emptiness and it doesn't deserve my criticism. It's below the standards of a philosopher to criticize, and then pushes it aside. That's another way to approach a Purvapaksha. And most of the Purvapaksha made in my wonderful university, JNU, our good students are out there. Most of their Purvapaksha ill-informed, most of the time. I mean, I'm not saying that we shouldn't criticize the Ramayana. We don't subscribe to that view at all. India never subscribed to that. India showed that openness. But before we do that, a comprehensive study of Valmiki's Ramayana and then you take on the positions. You may have a feminist perspective, or you may have a communist perspective, leftist perspective. Whatever is the perspective, it matters too little. But are we doing justice to the purvapaksha before we take on? And it applies the same, to Vedantins and to the Nayayikas and to the Buddhists. I'll show some more such examples and take you through. Pramana tarka sadhanopalambha siddhanta viruddha panchavayopapannaha paksha pratipaksha parigraho vadaha. You have the definition of vada, Nyaya Sutra 121. And then you have the definition of vitanda. Vitanda, in the morning session, people were criticizing it like anything. That will be a purvapaksha for me now. Vitanda is to be, seen with a lot of respect and it has the potential of, being a proper philosophic methodology. So the morning discussions will be a purvapaksha for me now. Vitanda gets defined as Swapratipaksha sthapana hina vitanda. 1, 2, 3 Gautama's Nyaya Sutra. Swapratipaksha sthapana hina. Vada or katha is adoption of a position by a thinker and its opposite by his opponent. That's a katha. A. It is to be defended by the means of pramana. B. And it has to be holding on to reason. C. One should have the knowledge of the hetva bhasa. Morning also Sachidanandaji was referring to, asiddha, viruddha, satpratipaksha, the knowledge of the hetva bhasa. And then the nigraha sthana, the point of defeat, knowledge of the points of defeat in any debatorial condition. You have the listing of 22 nigraha sthanas in Nyaya Sutra. And then in the Buddhist text, Upaya Hridaya, there are 20. So 22 ways of getting defeated in a vada, kind of a situation. When probably Shailendraji wrote the title, etc., etc., I didn't see any difficulty with the title. I found it very interesting. That I don't want to reveal. That I was party to the, framing of the title. So when the debate was used, it was used with the knowledge of debate and the kinds of debate that we have. Vada, Jalpa, Vitanda, Vada Vitanda, Jalpa Vitanda. We had this knowledge and wanted all those discussions to come up. But when the narrative was used, it was used in the sense of an upakhyana or akhyana, not in the sense of a JNU people creating a narrative after narrative, narrative after narrative. No. Those are my MA students. So, I'm praising our university. Don't go back and tell that. No. So the point is, that was the idea, but the narrative was taken in also in a sense of, an Ambarisha Upakhyana, an Nachiketa Upakhyana, and how we take it into a public discourse. Can it actually fit into the whole conception of Greek conceptions of philosophy that we have? Philosophy as something conceptual, rational exercise, as defined in Kantian sense. Does it at all fit in there? So we want, the director of the program wanted such a discussion. So therefore, it was not used in that sense. So what we have here is all these points have to be fulfilled when we are. What I'm trying to say is all these things needed to be taken care when we are doing a purvapaksha. That's what I'm trying to build my case. All this generally is taken care when we do the siddhanta portion of it, after the khandana. But what I'm saying is, all this needs to be taken care when we do the purvapaksha as well. So, as we hold on to the purvapaksha, our philosophic position gets strengthened. Without the knowledge of the purvapaksha, stating the position of the purvapaksha, not knowing the panchavaya vakya, not knowing the hetva bhasa, not knowing the nigraha sthanas, the purvapaksha is not taken care. One classic example of how there is a category mistake when we do, when the Buddhists criticize the Atmavada of the Upanishads, all the majority of the European thinkers, particularly, European thinkers have this habit of. So what we are juxtaposing is Anatmavada of Buddhist philosophy and the Atmavada of the Upanishads. इन दोनों के बीच में एक डिबेट हम देखने को मिलता है. बुद्धिस्ट अनात्मवाद के लिए उपनिषदिक आत्मवाद कैसे पूर्व पक्ष हो सकता है, ये मेरा पूर्व पक्ष. बुद्धिस्ट अनात्मवाद का एनालिसिस आप देखेंगे, वो एक एम्पिरिकल सेल्फ का एनालिसिस है, एक व्यावहारिक जीवात्मा का एनालिसिस है. आप व्यावहारिक जीवात्मा का एनालिसिस यदि आपको करना है बुद्धिस्ट फिलॉसफी के थ्रू, आप लंकावतार सूत्र लीजिए, सद्धर्म पुंडरीक लीजिए, दिग्घ निकाय पढ़िए, या आप नागार्जुना या वसुबंधु तक आइए. आपको यदि अनात्मवाद करना है, तब आप वेदांतिन के मिथ्यात्मा जीवात्मा के साथ कंपेयर कर सकते हैं. आप उनके जीवात्मा मिथ्यात्मा को पूर्व पक्ष बना सकते. मुख्य आत्मा और परब्रह्म स्वरूपी आत्मा को पूर्व पक्ष नहीं बना सकते. वो एक कैटेगरी मिस्टेक है. वो एक मेटाफिजिकल पारमार्थिक सत्य है. आप पारमार्थिक सत्य को व्यावहारिक जीवात्मा के साथ आप कंपेयर कर रहे. सो देयरफॉर पूर्व पक्ष ही गलत है. सो ये जितने भी डिस्कशंस मैं देखता हूं, बुद्धिस्ट अनात्मवाद एंड उपनिषदिक आत्मवाद, आप किसे पूर्व पक्षी बना रहे. सो एक क्लैरिटी हो कि हमारे पूर्व पक्ष में कौन है और किसका सिद्धांत है. सो पूर्व पक्ष में एक क्लैरिटी, एक एस्पेक्ट है फिलोसॉफिक डिस्कोर्सेस में. आचार्य शंकरा के लिए एक्सट्रीम क्लैरिटी था. जो प्रधान मल्ल था आचार्य शंकरा के लिए, ब्रह्मसूत्र में होने दीजिए या उपनिषदों में, प्रधान मल्ल कौन था आचार्य शंकरा के लिए? सांख्य था. 4 सूत्रास तक वेट किया आचार्य शंकरा ने ब्रह्मसूत्र में. 4 सूत्रास ही वेट किया. 5th सूत्र स्टार्ट होते ही कपिलाचार्य के ऊपर क्वेश्चन मार्क्स रेज करता है. 5th सूत्र से ज्यादा वेट कर ही नहीं पाए. और ही वाज वेरी क्लियर कि द सांख्य कपिलाचार्य इज द प्रधान मल्ला. एंड व्हेन इट कम्स टू आचार्य रामानुजा, he did not wait even 5 sentences. It is the very invocatory shloka, Vedartha Sangraha. The very first shloka, he was not praising Vishnu. No. Sheshashayine Ananta Kalyana Nidhaye Vishnave Namah. Ashesha Chidachid Vastu Sheshine. Each is a criticism of Acharya Shankara. So a clarity of what could be a Purupaksha. That's one position. And second, knowing all the tenets of a debate, what are the steps to be followed in a debatorial situation. So Vada Vitanda and Jalpa Vitanda, both the models that we have, and morning people took it in a commonsensical meaning that Vitanda is, जो हमारे पॉपुलर परिभाषा में जो वितंडा को यूज करते हैं कि ये वितंडवादी है, इस सेंस में वहां नहीं लिया गया. वितंडा को एक प्रीसपोजिशनलेस फिलोसोफाइजिंग के आइडिया में लिया गया. एंड प्रीसपोजिशनलेस फिलोसोफाइजिंग इज द हॉलमार्क ऑफ द फेनोमेनोलॉजिस्ट. The whole phenomenological method of Husserl is built upon how to do without presuppositions, how to do without a theory, how to bracket the world out there, how to bracket all the presuppositions, not to have a thesis of one's own, but to be open, to the things themselves, quote unquote, to the things themselves. He is an authority on Husserl. Yeah, so it's a presupposition philosophy has its enormous implication. Why should we have a Siddhanta before we start doing philosophy at all? So Vitanda, when Gautama was doing or writing on Vitanda, I don't think he was doing it to censure Vitanda. Vitanda has an extremely important place, and in this case, our Purupaksha, we are making an attempt to close on the Purupaksha and show how it is wrong, but we do not have a position of our own by then. We may reach someday, but we don't have a position of our own. So therefore, it is a valid and well-respected method of debate that has to be given a lot of respect before we condemn the Vitanda. That's another aspect of what to do with the Purvapaksha. Now coming back, if we have to have, यदि हम our organizers, sir, कुछ और 2-4 मिनट. Yes. सर हम दोनों एक साथ आज रेलवे स्टेशन से आए थे, साथ में मिलके जाने वाले हैं. आप you know, so please. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Here
you
is-
will,
here
you
is
will, you will get sufficient time to
couple
go.
of examples,
Okay.
and then I will I'll go. We'll
Finish.
go for the discussion, sir.
Let him finish.
Please. Atma and Anatmavada between the Vedantins and the Buddhists is a classic. If the Vedantins' proposition is there is the self, or if we understand there is the permanent self, the Buddhists would say there is no soul. It's my wording generally, either soul is. So if the Vedantin is saying there is the self, permanent self, S capital self, Atman, the Buddhist is saying there is no soul. What I want to say is, what Vedantin is talking about is a Paramarthika Satya, the self that we are talking about, and what you are saying is there is no soul, you are talking about a Jivatma. You are talking about a Vyavaharika, Atman or Jiva, or an ego, a pure ego, if you have to speak about. And if the Vedantin is saying self is existent, that's a proposition. Number 2, the hetu is because it is an abode of consciousness. That's a hetu. Number 3, whatever is not existent is not an abode of consciousness, like a hare's horn, that's an example. Soul is not so, that's a 4th one. And self is an abode of consciousness. Now, what I wanted to make sense out of this was, Vedantin is arguing about a Paramarthika Satya which is existent, and if you see the Panchakosha Vichara, the Vedantin is negating the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya, which the Buddhist is doing. Nama, Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Vijnana. What the Buddhist is doing is exactly what the Vedantin is doing. This was the discourse by C.D. Sharma, if you could see the Chandradhar Sharma or T.R.V. Murthy's works also. So some of the Vedantins had difficulty, looking at the Atma and Anatmavada debates. What's happening? What is happening there? What is the Purvapaksha and what is the Siddhanta and where is the debate? But I don't mean that, Buddhists and Vedantins are on different pages. I do agree for that. I'm also not saying that they both teach the same thing. No. I'm not saying that. There are good number of differences and you can argue for that. Kshanikavada is not acceptable to the Vedantins, and so much so forth. But what I'm saying is the kind of Purvapaksha that we are establishing, that's all. Are we careful about the Purvapaksha? What are we doing with the Purvapaksha? Now, continuing the same, I wrote some more paragraphs on the whole argument between the Vedantins and the Buddhists. I continue to say that. Now, then go on to say that soundness of reason. If you look into the Nigraha Sthanas, there are several occasions of defeats. One, what we discussed was the knowledge of Hetva Bhasa is about the knowledge of soundness of reason. How sound our reason is. And what happens is, there is an interesting remark by Udyotakara, the Vartikakara on the Nyaya Sutras. It's interesting remark. What he says is, as we know, as I already mentioned, Nyaya Sutra lists 22 occasions of defeat, and Upaya Hridaya lists 20 occasions of defeat. And Udyotakara goes on to say, soundness of reason does not guarantee success. It's an interesting statement. Generally, our understanding is soundness of reason guarantees success in a debate. That's not the position held by the Udyotakara. Soundness of reason does not guarantee success. And in his Vartika Udyotakara points out that even with sound reason, we may not win a debate if the rejoinder is stronger. One has to reassert. See, I have got a strong reason and then I counter the Purvapaksha. But if the Purvapakshi has another strong rejoinder, I need to further reassess and come out with further criticism. If we don't do it, if I have one reason and then think that it's a very sound reason and I'm going to win this debate, that may not happen at all. So a series of rejoinders will come and a series of answers need to be assessed. So again, I go on to say that one more remark in this context of understanding Hetva Bhasa and Panchavaya Vakya. What was interesting was Satish Chandra Vidyabhushana in his work, A History of Indian Logic. Another interesting remark on what we are doing here, Panchavaya Vakya, building up syllogism, drawing conclusions. In his History of Indian Logic, argued that there was influence of Aristotle on syllogism and Indian logic. This was S.C. Vidyabhushana's, which was contested by some of the logicians these days, and B.K. Matilal also does that and demonstrates that Indian logic developed parallel to the Greeks. There was no historical evidence to show that there was influence. I mean, I'm speaking in terms of the fallacies, in terms of the Panchavaya Vakya, in terms of the deductive syllogism. This comment doesn't hold at all. There is a parallel development is what I keep arguing for that, but that's okay as of now. Or yahan se one more interesting remark is as far as Purvapaksha and Uttarapaksha Siddhanta model is concerned, Buddha has an interesting remark to make. In Digha Nikaya 133, Buddha instructs his disciples to avoid fruitless debates. हम सुबह से इतना डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि डिबेट करना चाहिए, डिबेट में विक्ट्री होना चाहिए, और बुद्धा का कहना है दीर्घ निकाया वादो न कर्तव्यः, वाद मत करिए. ठीक है ना? आपका सेमिनार का क्या होगा शैलेंद्र जी? बुद्धा ने कहा वादो न कर्तव्यः, दीर्घ निकाया, वाद नहीं करना है. अब इसकी में और एक खूबी है, बुद्धा का ये कहते ही उनके शिष्य ने इसको पूर्व पक्ष करके ये प्रूव करता है कि वाद करना चाहिए. हद है. Mindfulness. Yeah. No. So हम भी इसी को आर्ग्यू करने वाले थे कि वाद किस लिए करना है. A2 मॉर्निंग में हमें यह भी सुनने को मिला था कि वाद ट्रूथ के लिए करना है, जीत के लिए नहीं करना है. मेरा कंटेस्टिंग है कि वाद जीतने के लिए करना है, वाद जीतने के लिए करना है. ट्रूथ के लिए करने में एक डिफिकल्टी है. ट्रूथ के लिए करने में डिफिकल्टी क्या है? मीनिंग डायमेंशन इनर कॉन्शियसनेस का कंस्ट्रक्ट है. यदि मीनिंग डायमेंशन इनर कॉन्शियसनेस का कंस्ट्रक्ट है, मीटिंग पॉइंट्स एंड यूनिवर्सलाइजेशन में डिफिकल्टी है. यूनिवर्सलाइज नॉलेज को करने में डिफिकल्टी होता है. तभी तो 2000 साल से बुद्धिस्ट एंड वेदांतिन्स एंड नैयायिकास एंड हम सब मिलके यूरोपियन स्कॉलर्स इसके वजह से तो ये तो वाद कर रहे हैं. So Inard, and then there is an interesting observation in Acharya Shankara. Why should we win over the opponent? Not that उनको ध्वस्त करने के लिए नहीं है, उनको ध्वस्त करना, परास्त करने के लिए नहीं है. सेम हम जब ब्रह्मसूत्र के वर्कशॉप किए थे, उसमें बिगिनिंग ऑफ द सूत्र सेकंड चैप्टर सेकंड पादा का बिगिनिंग में आचार्य शंकरा का कहना है, मोक्षार्थी को गलत सिद्धांतों का अवगाहन ना हो, इसके लिए गलत फिलोसॉफिकल थियरीज एंड रॉन्ग आइडियाज को डिफीट करना चाहिए. Wrong ideas need to be contested. And the footnote is Hindus have been very soft when it came to defending the ideas. And when an idea is to be taken up and it has to be defended so that wrong ideas do not permeate the society. And particularly if it happens to be a mumukshu, moksharthi, he cannot have a wrong thesis and a wrong philosophical position to uphold. Therefore, it is necessary that philosophically we debate, we discuss, and defeat all those wrong theories and wrong ideas that come from a purvapakshi. So, purvapakshi ko दबोचने का सारे चेष्टा, सर उतना नहीं बोला, बाद
Sum up, please sum up.
So,
Because
in order to help those on the path of freedom to have, sir, 30 seconds, to save the society from wrong philosophy, this is Shankara's position. And therefore, we need to enter into debates and standing on the land of the Buddha, अनात्मवाद को सही समझे, और यदि अनात्मवाद को सही नहीं समझे तो अनात्मवाद को डिफीट करने में डिफिकल्टी होगा. So therefore, proper understanding of the Purvapaksha. Thesis and account. Again, I gave all the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps of how do we deal with the Purvapaksha, and then how do we arrive. These are all available in the Nyaya Sutras. They are available in Upaya Hridaya. If you still have time, Vada Vidhi by Vasubandhu and Vadanyaya Dharmakirti. What is the younger kids sitting over there? Vadanyaya of Dharmakirti has all the list of Nigrahasthanas. Nyaya Sutras has all the list. And Vada Vidhi by Vasubandhu. These are classic texts on debate, debatorial techniques that we have. So therefore, celebrating the Purvapaksha. How do we celebrate the Purvapaksha? Spend a decade on a Purvapaksha, understand, digest. The Purvapaksha is significant in a philosophical discourse. And then comes the Khandana, and then comes the question of our own Siddhanta or Nirnaya. Thank you so much. Namaste.
so directly we move on the question answer. First he, because he. Many hands has been raised.
Why I'm congratulating you? Not because something new has come out, but it is a very nice presentation. The thing that is it is a very nice presentation, and that has moved me to say something. But still, I cannot agree with your few standpoints. Why I'm saying like this? I cannot agree. They cannot. They should not be agreed. They should not be. Let there be suspension. See, your paper has underlying presupposition. And what is that underlying presupposition? The underlying presupposition is that Purvapaksha has not been taken seriously into account. Will you agree? And you have said several times that Purvapaksha has not been taken seriously, or it has not been properly understood. One point. Very good. If I develop your idea further, तो जब हम लोग विद्यार्थी हुआ करते थे शहर भी, मैं और मेरे मित्र विकास शर्मा जी, डॉक्टर बलियान साहब ने इस बात में कहा कि इसका अर्थ तो यह हुआ कि किसी भी दार्शनिक संप्रदाय का
No, please.
किसी भी दार्शनिक संप्रदाय का खंडन नहीं संभव, किसी भी Purvapaksha का खंडन संभव नहीं है. तो मैं ऐसा तुम लोग कह रहे हो, हमने कहा मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूँ कि अगर हमको Purvapaksha का खंडन करना है तो हमको उसकी कुछ मूल मान्यताओं को स्वीकार करना पड़ेगा. अगर उसकी मूल मान्यताओं बेसिक प्रिंसिपल को एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेंगे तो ये जो क्रिटिसिज्म होगा वो आपके जो है लॉक साइडेड होगा. तो एक ये भी कहा शंकराचार्य के अद्वैत वेदांत को समझने के लिए रामानुज को पढ़ना जरूरी है, क्योंकि रामानुज ने जितना अच्छा शंकराचार्य के अद्वैत वेदांत को प्रस्तुत किया है, लेकिन मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि रामानुज ने तो बड़ी बेसिक ये जो पता नहीं, तो रामानुज ने जो माया का खंडन किया है ना, उससे मैं आपके रामानुज ने माया का खंडन किया है, वो बहुत सस्टेनेबल है नहीं, जो अनुपत्ति आशा अनुपत्ति सम्मान पता क्या कहते हैं, हाँ तो है ना, तो दैट इज कई बार तो ऐसा होता है ना कि हम अपनी बात को मनवाने के लिए जो क्रिटिसिज्म भी बनाते हैं वो बहुत स्ट्रांग नहीं होते हैं, और एक हमने और टेंडेंसी देखी है फिलॉसफी में कि अगर हमको किसी का बहुत अच्छा क्रिटिसिज्म ना मिलो तो मेरे तो ये कह दो कि हम आपको क्रिटिसाइज करना मतलब आपको सम्मान देना, ये भी आर्गुमेंट है ना। if I condemn you, that means I am giving you some respect, so I am not going to criticize. और ये जो आपके चर्चा हो रही है बात और आपके जल अभिकंडा, प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आउट ऑफ द थ्री वाद जल अभिकंडा, इसमें जो वाद है, जो गुड या ऑनेस्ट डिबेट है, that can only lead to dialogue or संवाद, and the remaining few, whether in the case of jal, there is a specific argument, and Vikanta is a wrangling argument where you simply refute the opponent view without placing your own philosophical standpoint. So only what can be transformed into संवाद, I feel.
So let him respond to your question.
Professor, thank you so much. I mean, so you have put the Purvapaksha so well. And Purvapaksha, the first was as a presupposition, and second, Ramanuja was wrong on Maya, etc. No, what I said was Ramanuja's summarizing of Shankara was an example of his deep learning of Acharya Shankara's positions. My concern was, did he state all those points in the Purvapaksha properly? Khandana part of it is left to you, whether you go with Ramanuja's Saptavida Anupavati, Maya criticism, because later on Vidyaranya has answered, Madhusudana Saraswati has answered, Khandana, Sriharsha has answered, everybody has answered Ramanuja. So that whether we accept with the Maya Khandana by Ramanuja is not, वो बाद की बात है. मेरा इतना ही कहना था कि रामानुजाचार्य का जो पूर्व पक्षा का स्टेटिंग है, जो स्टेट किया, उसमें प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, उसमें गलतियां नहीं किया. वो पोजीशन को हम मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम हम डिसऑनेस्टली अपोनेंट का पोजीशन को हमने यदि स्टेट किया, that's not what is philosophically tenable. So he honestly he puts the Shankara's position right there. So Advaitins have no difficulty with the summary given by Ramanuja, that much only. But on whether the Maya criticism is proper or not, that's a later debate. So when it comes to a presupposition that Purvapaksha was not taken care, I was making all kinds of statements on Purvapaksha. I also showed a couple of examples where Purvapaksha was done extremely well. But the example of Marla Bhatta का example में मैंने कहा कि Purvapaksha ने अच्छा स्टडी किया गया, और रामानुजा का एग्जाम्पल भी दिया, और दो चार एग्जाम्पल्स में मेरे कहना था कि Purvapaksha का प्रॉपरली हैंडल नहीं किया गया. So therefore, that's it, I believe. And was there anything, sir? No. So, thank you. Organizers generally नहीं पूछते. Yes, that's what my position was. That's what I said. Ki I was questioning the morning position taken by several of our learned speakers from different fields of expertise. That narrative is taken as a general building of a narrative by the journalists, by the politicians. No, that's not the sense in which Shailendraji used. That's what I said. Yeah. Your P for C actually answers that on the narrative.
Okay.
Philosophy for children.
Philosophy, not philosophy for children only, but what I'm saying that all our research scholars are looking for always to find out the research gap in a good research, and this could be a good model, purvapaksha model, that how we could find the vitanda nigra sthana, maybe the field for the research gap. So I have that model one, that paksha divided by purvapaksha, and the remainder is nigraha, and the resultant is akhyana. Do you agree? Paksha divided by purvapaksha, paksha divided by purvapaksha, remainder is nigraha, and the outcome is akhyana or upakhyana. I leave it up to you for upcoming 3 days.
मुझे सोचना पड़ेगा. Yeah, मैं सोच में पड़ गया. Yeah, sir.
Skill is required there. Yes.
Neha, you have a question? Okay. Please, sir.
The clarification question that you have proved or you suggested that Vitanda should be taken as a legitimate form of debate on the basis that you thought it as a presuppositionalist philosophy, like a phenomenology. But the fact is, if you look at the division or the varieties of ground of defeats, that is point of defeat, the 21st defeat according to the Nyaya Sutra is Apo Siddhanta. Now, if you consider this as a variety of ground of defeat, then how can you reconcile with these two Vitanda? This is the first question. Second is that you said that the preservation of truth is not to be considered as the only objective of the Vada or the Katha. Right? The aim of Katha should be getting victory. Then if you go to that Prabhachanda and Hemchanda, especially Pumano Mimamsa and the Pumano Matendo Kameo, they are actually suggesting that it is fine that when someone is being refuted and thus he is defeated, but that necessarily does not mean that the person who has refuted the other's position is get the victory. So defeat does not necessarily entail the victory. So in order to get victory, according to Prabhachanda as well as Hemchanda, one need to establish their or his or her own position. So in case of Vitanda, if according to you it is a presuppositionalist philosophy, if there is no thesis at all, and you are not actually giving sufficient reason to prove your thesis, then how can it be your victory?
See, I mean, if Vitanda was not acceptable as a philosophic model of a debate, Gautama wouldn't have mentioned it. Only because Gautama mentioned Vatsyayana Bhasha and Vrittikara are writing, it means that they took it as one of the forms of debates, number one. And number two, when we said presuppositionless philosophize करना है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम इन अ डिस्टेंट फ्यूचर हम कोई सिद्धांत प्रपोज करने वाले नहीं हैं, वैसा थोड़ी ही है. हमारा स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट में हमारे पास सिद्धांत नहीं है. एज ऑफ नाउ हमारे पास सिद्धांत नहीं है, बट ओवर ए पीरियड ऑफ टाइम हमारे पास सिद्धांत हो सकता है. सो वितंडा का मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम इन्फिनिटी के लिए हमारे पास कोई प्रपोज करने के लिए कोई सिद्धांत नहीं. आज आपके साथ हम डिबेट कर रहे हैं, आज मेरे पास सिद्धांत नहीं है, बट अगला सेमिनार में बुलाइए, मेरे पास सिद्धांत होगा. सो एक फ्यूचरिस्टिक प्रोबेबिलिटी को रूल आउट नहीं करता है. हाँ, वो रूल आउट नहीं करता है. और नंबर एंड द लास्ट वन कि मैंने कहा कि विक्ट्री ओवर द other has to be important and not the dialogical or the effort to reach the truth. No, in that, not in 100% sense. I do agree with the Vada model. I do agree students and teachers aspiring to understand truth. I do agree. But my greatest difficulty is, if this dialogue could have solved, a dialogue as philosophy, Martin Buber, and then Putnam, Hilary Putnam, a book likha hai. If dialogue यदि होता, so 2600 years में आत्मा अनात्मवादा बुद्धिस्ट और वेदांतिन्स को कोई सॉल्व तो करे.
सर
डायलॉग से आप यदि सॉल्व कर ही सकते तो इसको सॉल्व करिए. अगला दिन से मैं मानूंगा कि थ्रू डायलॉग हम फिलॉसफी चलाएंगे.
सर
वो होता नहीं है. इसलिए है कि ये पोस्टमॉडर्निस्ट डिस्कोर्स नहीं है. दिस इज नॉट ए पोस्टमॉडर्निस्ट डिस्कोर्स, कल्चर बेस्ड मीनिंग एस्क्रिप्शन, कल्चर बेस्ड. नो. The very innate structure of a consciousness, of a pure ego, has its own way of giving meanings. It has its own. This is not a postmodernist discourse in Heidegger. So that's not going to be answered. There is always this problem of universalizability of knowledge. The uncovering of the meanings, That's why I used the word avarana and vikshepa. That's what when we were using avarana vikshepa. Anyway, thank you, sir.
Yes.
One question. Sir, one observation I have to make. Sir, in starting you have said that this purvapaksha is inherent in consciousness, sir. In starting, you have said that. So we can reach to the conclusion that there is something which we can say any cosmological entity which is regulating all the purvapakshas. So
No.
we can reach to the conclusion, na?
You haven't said like this.
You have not said that. Okay.
Your question is not clear.
Okay. Sir.
So anyone? No, first, who? C has raised her hand.
So I am quite agree with Professor Nataraju in case of Bitanda, because I found that even though we are saying that Bitanda don't have like their position, okay, but I found it like quite disagreeing, because for example, when I'm saying ki, okay, I'm a Bitondik and I don't have like my position, I am just here for refuting your position. Say like God doesn't exist, I'm just refuting that God doesn't exist. But on what basis? Like while saying that God does not exist, there may be two possibilities. Either I am accepting that God exists, or maybe I'm indifferent to the God, like to the existence of God. And that is also a possibility, that which is something called a jnana theory of God. Like we don't know like whether God exists or not, and this is also a theory, this is also a position. So either I have like disagreement with the Nyaya Sutra, the definition of Bitonda, which says that Bitondik don't have any position. And for example, also like Charvak also has been criticizing in the Indian philosophical tradition, saying that okay, they don't have any such important philosophical tradition, like important philosophical significance. But I'm also disagreement with this point, because they provided a lot of ideas which provides us the materialism which also science talks about these days. So this was my point.
There is no response for her. You were supporting my thesis, isn't
I'm
it?
quite agreeing with you.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
she is a
agreed, so
student.
that's
So
it. Yeah.
she is your student, so she is supporting.
Agreement, so
Yes. Last question,
okay,
please.
that's okay, that's
You ask last question.
we have two more
जी
speakers
साहब,
here.
हम ये जानना चाहते हैं हम कि जो बुद्धा का अनात्मवाद है और जो डेकार्ट का मैं सोचता हूं इसलिए मैं हूं, इस पर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगे? जो डेकार्ट का मैं सोचता हूं इसलिए मैं हूं
Cogito.
जी, और बुद्धा अनात्मवाद और क्षणिकवाद, जैसे मैं सोचता हूं तो एकदम परिवर्तन, क्या मैं पहुंच सकता हूं उस चीज तक जो डेकार्ट जाना चाह रहा है? बुद्धा की नजर से हम क्या कह सकते हैं?
बुद्ध
बुद्धा के नजर से तो मैं नहीं कह सकता हूँ, मगर मेरे
ये-
नजर में देखिए सर, बुद्धा यदि सेल्फ और इसके बारे में यदि एक दो स्टेटमेंट्स दिए होते तो 2600 इयर्स का डिबेट खत्म हो जाता। बुद्धा ने स्ट्रेटेजिकली साइलेंस को अपनाया। जब जब कोई भी मेटाफिजिकल क्वेश्चन आया, he took silence as ananda. If I accept, it would be a brahmanical position. Ananda, if I do not accept, it would be a brahmanical position. I will remain silent. So therefore, but cogito is altogether has a different sense. It's a thinking self. I'm thinking. It's a thinking self that is asserted in Descartesian philosophy. I don't know how we are comparing all this, and where are we comparing, etc., etc. But Buddhist philosophy, if you want me to interpret, Buddhist philosophy, अनात्मवादा व्यावहारिक जगत में यदि अनात्मता हुआ, बट बुद्धिस्ट फिलॉसफी में निर्वाणा एक ऐसा चीज है जो परमानेंट स्टेट ऑफ अफेयर्स है। सो निर्वाणा को यदि इंटरप्रेट करना पड़े तो आपको अनात्मवाद से हट के फिर इंटरप्रेट करना होता है, जैसे चंद्रधर शर्मा ने किया, TRV मूर्ति ने किया, राधा कृष्णन ने किया, एटसेट्रा किया। बट इसके सिवा ज्यादा कंपैरिजन आई डोंट नो इन व्हाट कॉन्टेक्स्ट। सॉरी। थैंक यू सो मच सर।
Thank you, Professor Nataraju, for presenting a very brilliant paper. Very nice paper, very brilliantly you presented. And what came remarkably into my notice that you actively engaged your students during your lecture. They were supporting the points by just mentioning the points. That is very remarkably came into my mind. This is good. This is good, very good that students are so interactive with you during this lecture also. Very well. Now we move to the next speaker. Our next speaker is Professor Tripti Dharji from Raigad University, Department of Philosophy, and she is additional in charge of and director, Center for Buddhist Studies also. She has more than 16 years teaching experience, and she has written more than 5 books and 15 papers. She has edited volume of more than 30 papers in journals. So now I request Professor Tripti Dharji to present her paper. Please.
Namaskar. Very good afternoon to all of you. Respected chairperson of this session, my co-speakers, Professor Nataraju, Abha Singh ji, and other Professor Jena, and other delighted this kind. All the participants are actively participating, and actually they are asking so many questions. And my earlier speaker has very nicely presented on that topic, which is very contextual in this particular issue. And just I am going to that topic, which is related with the Buddhist philosophy, and mostly related with the self and its existence, all those things. Actually, the title of my topic is the concept of individual or Pudgal and its relation with the society, a controversy among the Buddhist thinkers or schools. We are very much well known about the fact that Buddhist philosophers, mostly they are divided into 2 schools, Mahajani and Theravadi. But there are several schools, mainly 18 schools are there, who has given their views, particularly different issues related with self or the individual and their existence and metaphysical and most probably the epistemological status of the self. So I have tried to draw on those issues, which are basically they have discussed in the book Abhidhamma Pitak and mainly Kathabottu, and some of the portions from the Boshubandhu's Tika and other related books which are very much relevant on this particular issue. Actually, when I have delivered a lecture in the ICPR conducted seminar on Kathabottu, Lucknow, they have selected this text, that Kathabottu, and it is a dialectical method or a kind of a debatable issues that book is constituted with, and 18 schools are there, and they are mostly they have defined on the particular issue about that the concept of Pudgal or the individual is existing, whether that Pudgal is existing or not. And is there any metaphysical or epistemological existence of that term Pudgal? First of all, as a students of philosophy or scholar of philosophy, we have to understand about the self. Then we can understand the ethical status of a person. And the term Pudgal or Puggal is a Pali word, and it means a person, a individual. A person or an individual means who has a consciousness, and at the same time, consciousness means in the Dhammapada itself, that is the Theravadi text. Theravadi means, for the students, I am just explaining those terms. Theravadi means that the elder peoples of the Buddhism, and they are mostly accepting Buddhist thoughts. So, Buddhism, the elders peoples, the Theravadi peoples, they are accepting the existence of Puggalo, and Puggalo means individual self, and this individual self has very much their consciousness, they have their mind, and at the first stanza of Dhammapada, that the stanza started with that Mono Siddha Monomaya Monopubbanga Monodhamma. And this stage is stanza, from this stanza we can say that Buddhism is not accepting the existence of metaphysical creator or any existence of God, though they are accepting the power of our mind. So mind is the controlling body of our, or the main factor of our body. So if we are person, we have the consciousness factor, and we are doing everything in our life through the power of our mind. So mind, he has accepting the wholehearted power of this factor or mind. But at the same time, he is not accepting the metaphysical status of any powerful existence or any kind of God. So how the ethics is possible? So if we go through the earlier schools of other philosophers, they are accepting that, like neo-philosophy and other theist philosopher, they are accepting existence of God. But Buddhism, rather than accepting the existence of God, they are accepting the existence of all kinds of ethical issues related with the individual. So individual is that kind of thing who is doing every kind of activities, as well as Gautam Buddha is accepting our Karma-bado theory. Karma-bado means related with the dharma. The term is related with dharma, and dharma means it is related, is a kind of chain, is equally existing throughout our life. So different kinds of analogy they have accepted to establish the chain theory of our individualistic existence. So how it is possible? If we go to the text of Milinda Panha, there the discussions about Raja Milinda with the Nagashena, he was telling about how the self is doing all the work, and is we can say that the self is doing all kinds of thing, and it you do that.
प्रेमलता, विभीषण मांझी, शिवेंद्र कुमार मिश्रा, रूपम कुमार, इज देयर एनीवन? नो, ये गायब हो गए, अब इनको सर्टिफिकेट नहीं देंगे.
Okay, so here the existence of individual or yes. So here, instead of the view of individuals, constantly they are accepting that the term, that Puggal, And they and Buddhism, mainly Gautam Buddha, that sir was also telling that they are not accepting the no self or existence of no self in the epistemological sense. But in the metaphysically, we can say Buddha is accepting Anattavada, but he was very much silent on that issue. And the Buddhist schools mainly accepting the entity of Pudgala, in which way epistemologically they are accepting the existence of Pudgala. And I, mainly I is the mind. And the process, it is continued everywhere. And Abhidhamma, a person is not recognized by its outer size, shape, and the physical structure of a person or material, soil, water, air, all those things. That means Abhidhamma is Abhidhamma Pitak is accepting the metaphysical structure of a person, rather than they are accepting that a person has a epistemological status. And this is true that we have to do our work for the ethical issues, for the karmic continuity, or for the dharma purpose. Epistemologically, the individual is existing. And in the Kathabuttu text, there during the schools, they have maintained fourfold rebuttal regarding on the existence of Pudgala. First of all, the Puggalabadins and with the Theravadis, they have discussed about that whether there is a real sense of absolute existence of self. Existence of self is there, or any kind of self who has nama rupa, but nama rupa can define that this nama rupa is continuously coming, and it is going through our past records, and we are recognizing that I am doing good deeds and bad works, and it is continuously moving through the self. And at the same time, Buddhism, from the Theravadi perspective also, they are accepting three kinds of karma: kushala karma, akushala karma, abhyakta karma. So kushal means good karmas, bad karmas. That why they are accepting this kind of things. Kushala karma means if we do a good work, and it will be continued, and we will get a good life further. So that means here a non-existence of our dharmas is continuously going through our life, but we are not seeing that karma bada, as epistemologically we are existing. But we are accepting that the ethics is there, so we are doing good works. But at the same time, we are not accepting the metaphysical status of the karma bado. Why? This is a debatable issue in their schools. And another thing is that when the Mogoliputto Tisso, in the book, they have defined in the second council of Buddhism, Tisso was telling that the Puggalabadins continues with the argument with the Tisso. Puggalabadins continued their argument that is personality not to be found in the real or absolute sense. When I am saying that person is there, then there should be a personality. A person should be with his personality. And Tisso, Mogoliputto Tisso, on that time he was telling that no, there is no such kind of personality is existing in a person. So that means person is there, but no personality. It is a very vital issue. And another three refutation he is telling here, that is the personality everywhere found in the sense of a real or absolute fact. The question was that Tisso, another opponent, refused because he finds errors in holding that person is in the material qualities, that living principle, and it is different from the body. He is accepting that person is there, it is different from the body, but it has no personality. And at the same time, they are also asking a question. Tisso is asked to the Puggalabadins that is personality always found, etc. The sorry, here the opponents denies because a person founds his twofold defects. The wrong thing is that we are all saying that different classes in the persons, we are saying brahmanas, kshatriyas, and all those classes. But how can we are defining that? These are our epistemological divisions going through in the society. So when we are asking that person is there but no division, all then it simultaneously coming that no division of among the person, all being are same. That kind of reason is also arising in this their debatable issues. And at the same time, the groups was asking that when Pugal is telling that that person has eye and nostril and all those things, how it is continuously coming, because one person has all kinds of all kind of excitement to doing good or bad, those kinds of issues related with existing with a person, then how it is possible that one person is along with all good and bad works? Another debatable issue that they have asked regarding the Puggalabadis with the Theravadis, that Sharayatana Anuputti Katha, that how the 6 organs is coming in a person. Theravadi, they are asking very beginning of the mother's womb, that person origination started. Theravadin asked an important question related whether that organ of sight starts at the consciousness who are seeking rebirth. Is very important. They are telling that from the very beginning, when nothing is there, no divisions like nose, nostrils, and nails and other things, but they are existing a consciousness. That means consciousness is the prime factor to originate or to develop a person. So it's important that consciousness, we should give emphasis on the term consciousness when the person is originating or developing his whole body, then it comes from the consciousness. And some important factors are also there, that how the consciousness, from the consciousness other things are coming through. At first the kololo takes birth, and then the abbud and the peshi, all those things coming through day by day. But very important thing in the Theravadi and Uttara Pathako, that 18 schools are there. So Uttara Pathako, one of the important schools, they were asking about that the 5 sense consciousness grow through the reciprocal interdependency. This is also a vital issue. They are asking how the 5 khandas or skandha, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankharo, biyano, and all those things is coming or developing in an individual. So Tisso asked a question whether Puggalo is different from the above elements. 5 elements are related with the Puggalo, or 5 Sankharo is identical with the Puggalo, or something or more than that. This is a very important question that they are asking to the Puggalabadins. And Thoreau does not accept this kind of illogical argument, that they are also telling that a person and material quality feeling are known in the sense that real and ultimate facts, that they are not mutually distinct from each other, and is a contradictory, and Thoreau refuted Puggalabadins. That when we are telling that all the Rup Skandas, Namo Rupo, 5 Skandas are develops in a person, and that skandhas is not identical with the person, identical with that person, then what is there? Is something else that to that person. Can we say that skandhas is more important than the person, or person is more vital than the skandhas? That debatable issues they are discussing on those particularly in the different books of Theravadi books. And one thing they are asking that Puggala is equal to Satya, is equal to Jiva, is Kaya, and is Sariro. Though they admit that Kaya is different from Puggala, Kaya means body is different, because the statement that so kaya kayanu passi biharati and so forth. And here it's important to know about that what would be their position when they are accepting the person, the existence of person, instead of they are telling that person is different from kaya. Kaya means body. So this kind of issues they are discussing in those books. And mainly another thing is that Puggalabadins does not accepting khanda, ayatanas, dhatu, indriya, chitta. They are accepting the qualities of khandas, ayatanas, dhatu, and the question is whether Puggal is perceivable in every momentary thought. Puggalabadins accepted it, and Tisso maintains that Puggala must have momentary existence. That means it is momentarily Puggalo is existing. Here, a kind of momentariness is accepting in their discussions is coming out. And the same time, if we go through the discussions about how the self is momentary, how self is, whether self is momentarily existing or it is totally existing in the permanent way, it's very important questions they were asking. And if we go through the discussion about Nagshano and with the Raja Milinda, there we see that he was discussing about some of the analogy that one person has stolen a mango from a particular mango tree, and that person was just telling that person, you have stolen that mango from my tree and you should be punishable. And there Nakshano and Milindo was discussing that particular issue, that whether that person is stolen that mango from the mango tree, whether he should be punishable or not, because he has stolen that mango, a different mango, and he has that person has started was his argument was that the person has given that argument that person is stolen that mango from another and not on the same from the same tree he has stolen. So that means the next that the mango from where he has stolen, the same tree that person has one time he has that he has what should I say, that person he has given that person that no, it is not the thing that I am taking the same mango from that tree. So this kind of division was this kind of dialogue was between Nakshen and Milinda Panno. But Milinda Panno, Raja Milinda Panno was telling that person should be punishable because from the same tree that person has taken the mango. So this kind of debatable issue was going on through those persons. And here they were giving this kind of analogy because of they are telling that the one person who has Namarupo, that means Namarupo is continuously going through time to time, but it is not different person from one time to another time. When a person is developing, that means same person and he has the same karmic status. If he is doing good, then he will get the good fruits. And if he is doing the akushala karma, he will get bad type of fruits. He will get in the same life or another life. That kind of metaphysical issues if we see in the Buddhist philosophy also. So Puggalo here just I have tried to discuss here that how a person or a Puggal or individual being which is not a metaphysically existing but rather epistemologically existing has the ethical status. Ethical status means when we are saying that a person is ethically existing. That means Gautam Buddha was accepting or a Madhyama patha or Madhya patha. He tried to shown to the person or the society. He has given Astangic marg, fourfold truth, and at the same time Brahma Viharas, that mudita, karuna, metta, those Brahma Viharas. If a person have to be a developed being, then he has to follow all those Brahma Viharas. So karuna, here the word karuna is not related, is not identical with the sympathy. Karuna is empathy. That means a kind of thing when I am doing a empathy to other person. That means I am totally feeling his pain, what he is now feeling after any kind of any kind of accident or anything. So here Gautam Buddha was very much a practical philosopher, a societal being also, because he is not a metaphysically, he is accepting all the anatta theories or karmavada theories, but at the same time he is accepting the epistemological status of a person, how a person would be so developed being or ethical being in the society. Different Brahma Viharas or the ethical rules and regulations he has accepted here, or he has tried to follow in her whole life, to show that how a person be a societal being and he can do justice to the whole people and to the society also. Thank you to all.
Thank you, Professor Triptidhar ji. Please visit. And now, yes. It will enrich this session.
I have given a very patient hearing to your oral presentation. It was oral presentation, right? And it was a nice presentation from your Buddhist perspective. But one thing is perplexing my mind. What is perplexing my mind is that it is not doing full justice to the theme of the seminar. This is my observation. Whether you are talking about physical and your whatever you have said, or your Brahma Vihar, that is a topic of Buddhist philosophy. And now how you are going to relate with the theme of the seminar? The theme of the seminar is, if I'm not wrong, debate, dialogue, and narrative. So you have to build up connection. I think.
Hello.
Otherwise it is a nice paper. Otherwise it is nice.
Yes, thank you very much. Because just on the concept of individual, I have tried to discuss on the concept of Puggalo. It is a epistemic concept, epistemological concept that they have defined. In every Pali text, they have introduced this term. But if we go through the Theravada schools or other 18 schools, that oldest schools of Buddhism, they have narrated or discussed this term indifferently. And at this word they have discussed, Puggalavadis have given their own position, and the Theravadi, they have accepted their own position. So that means a debatable discussions they are going on. So as our theme of this seminar has discussed or tried to focus on those debatable or discussions, all those discuss those particular debatable issues. That's why I have tried to focus on this particular topic, whether this term is exactly existing or should accept to accept our ethical issues related with the society. When a person or a student of philosophy or a scholar, we should first accept our existence. Then we can accept the ethical values of the society, or we can justice to the society. So that's why I have first tried to discuss the nature or definition of the Puggal. Then I have tried to define their values, their definitions of the values or the societal feelings, or all the Brahma Viharas related with the things that Gautam Buddha has tried to define in their textual Theravadi text as well as Mahajani text. So Brahma Viharas is vital. Brahma Vihara concept is more relevant to the Theravadi as well as Mahajani. There is no doubt about it. But the most important thing is that they are not accepting the same or exact position of the Puggala. So that's the reason I have tried to focus only on those particular issues. So that's why I have not gone through the broader area of the Brahma Vihara or other perspective. Just I have tried to find out those areas. Only Buddhism and those particular issues. Yes. Main point. That's right. Yes, main point. You should, we can do that in the border perspective, we can ask, and in the different aspects, we can discuss all the ethical issues related with this Pudgalo. But throughout these discussions, I think it is not possible to define all those issues related with the Pudgalo. Just only pinpointed. Just I tried to discuss all those issues. Yes, yes, thank you. Yes, yes.
Any more? No. Yes.
वेरी नाइस डिस्कशन वाज गोइंग एंड थैंक यू तृप्ति मैडम, आपने तो कब समाप्त कर दिया पता ही नहीं चला। एक अभी वेल आर्टिकुलेटेड टाइम में आपने फिनिश किया। थैंक्स फॉर दिस थिंग। एक्चुअली हमारे साथ हमारे अभी तो रिसोर्स पर्सन के रूप में प्रोफेसर आभा सिंह जी थी, लेकिन आपको कुछ हेल्थ इश्यूज हैं जिसकी वजह से कल सेशन चेयर करने वाले थे और वो नहीं कर रहे हैं। दैट इज गोइंग बैक, शी इज गोइंग बैक। तो अब मेरे को जो हमारा उनका सम्मान है वो मैं चाहता हूं कि इस सभा के सभापति अध्यक्ष महोदय मैडम का सम्मान करें, खादा मोमेंटो एंड। और आप लोग जोरदार तालियों से मैम के लिए। तबीयत खराब होने के बाद भी मैडम आए वहां से रांची से चल के, और मैम ने कहा कि बहुत अच्छा डिस्कशन हो रहा है। मैं 2 शब्द बोलने के लिए भी कहूंगा मैम को फीडबैक के लिए। She is like a guardian of the family for philosophy family. अभी मैम को एक पुरस्कार भी मिला है आईपीसी में। मैम प्लीज 5 minutes. प्रोफेसर जैना bother us.
Yes, yes, it is my pleasure. Of course, I would address the chair first, and all the participants of the seminar and the organizers of the seminar, head of the department is here, and what I would like to say that when I was a student of this department of philosophy, Magad University, Bodh Gaya, during the period which I would say that it was a golden era of not only this department, it was golden era of this university also, and it was the golden era of education system in Bihar also, because during that period in all the universities of Bihar, of course, there were only, I think, 6 or 7 universities in Bihar, and in all subjects, you could go through the history of the education era of that time, you would find that international scholars were heading the department. and the department used to recruit cream of that period, and of course that cream used to belong to Bihar itself. They were all Bihari, and they were they were luminaries in their field, not only in the with regard to their faculty or subject. They were good human beings as well. And what has happened to Bihar, that I am a retired person now. I retired recently, and I saw all the upheavals of this education system. I joined as a faculty in 1982 and retired in 2023, and I saw havocs in this field. But this seminar, of course, I could not spend much time. I am so sorry that I have to rush to Patna. So, but this seminar, the way Shailendra ji was preparing, he was giving his 100%. Of course, he is a young person, but this enthusiasm is lacking. Not only lacking, but there we find a lapse. There is not only a lapse, there lapse of decades. I found this type of jugnu in the field of academics, not only for philosophy, but he is an example of for his generation of scholars. So in this department, which was kindled by scholars like not only Professor B.K. Lal, but Yaqub Masih was earlier head. Of course, he was not my direct teacher, but many teachers, all the teachers of this department. Well, whenever I used to, I will think on the subjects I am writing or doing something, or I was teaching, their teaching method flashed in my mind, in the way they taught us. So I would like to say to all the faculties to just try to make a niche into the minds of your pupils, so that people would remember you. Not only you, why no person is important, but the way you have kindled knowledge, kindle the rays of knowledge, only ray of knowledge. As a student, you get a ray of knowledge, and after that you do your research work and develop yourself. That is another thing. So I wish my best to all the faculties of the department, all the retired persons, of course, Dr. Bibi Sharma ji, who is chairing this session. He was my senior. Yes, I know. Dr. Brajbhushan Sharma ji, he was my senior, and he has, of course, evidenced all the facts, that all the experience. He has also gone through those experiences. So I wish my all the best to Shailendra ji and this department to just rekindle that hope in the not only the Department of Philosophy, but this Magad University fraternity as well. So all the best to everybody, and I am so sorry that I'll have to leave for some health issues, and I wish that in some other occasions we will again gather and will discuss those issues that have been left behind. Thank you so much, and blessings, Shailendra ji. All the best to all of you. Thank you.
Now it's time for our last resource person. आप लगाइए slide. Professor Niranjan Jena, former head of the Department of Sanskrit, Vishwa Bharati Shanti Niketan, and a scholar of his field. And Professor Jena is generous enough to invite me Shanti Niketan, even to chair the session of the Sanskrit scholars. So I don't know why you did so, but आपको सुनना बहुत अच्छा लगेगा. इनके जो कुछ नरेशन की जो एक स्टाइल है, इसके लिए आपको नरेटिव में आपको लाया गया है, और यम नचिकेता डायलॉग को ये रिप्रेजेंट करेंगे। प्रोफेसर जैना, I can't speak much about you.
ॐ मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् ॐ नीलाचलनिवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। Esteemed chairperson of this academic session, Professor Brajabhushan Samaji, learned scholars on the dash, of the dash, and learned scholars. I was hearing the papers, being in the field of Sanskrit, or a learner or a student of Sanskrit. I was observing the things right from the first paper, Professor Abasing Madam, then Professor Nataraju Sir, and then Professor Triti Dhar Madam. Then I thought, what is remaining for me to say? As rightly scholars said, "Vade vade jayate tattva buddha." Keeping mind in this view, I would like to pay a present before you. Dialectics of Yama and Nachiketa on life and death, a philosophical speculation. Since the theme of the seminar is concerned with dialects, debates, and narratives in Indian philosophy. So all this, the Indian knowledge system, the root, the source is the Veda. So we have the Vedic literature before us, because literature is the reflection of our culture and society. So far we are concerned, when we speak about Indian philosophy. So we have the 6 systems of Indian philosophy and 3 systems of Indian philosophy, and there are more numbers of Indian philosophies. So when we say that Nastika, Astika, and Anatma, Atma, and so many things, but if we see here in Kathopanishad, that is the Krishna Yajurvedas, because all Upanishad systems, ideas that is coined, originated from that Vedas, like Ishopanishad, that is the 40th chapter of Vajrasani Sangita, that is Shukla Yajurveda, and Purusha Suktam, that is 31 chapter of that Yajurveda, and all these philosophical hymns, whatever we talk about philosophical dialects, narratives, and debates, that all philosophical hymns are there. In the first paper, when Madam was telling, like Ekam Sad Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti, that is in Rugveda Pratham Mandal 160 suktas and 65 mantras, that is Indram Mitram Varunam Agni Mahu Rathadevyam Sasuparno Garutman Ekam Sad Vipraha Bahuda Vadanti Agning Yamam Matarishwanamahu. So all the deification, personification, that is one, but it is analyzed or defined differently according to the context or whatever the action, and we see according to the karma, that is ekansa. So here oneness of God. So what is the philosophy behind it? When we say we look into that Adi Guru Shankaracharya's statement like Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya, the only Brahma is one, and that is truth, and the material life, whatever is, that is perishable, or that is mithya, illusion. And second paper, when Professor Nataraju sir was telling like avarana, vikhepa, sakti, and illusion, and purvapaksha, uttarapaksha, anatma, atma. Just my paper is based on that. But when I am telling, I just I am going to focus on that dialogues of Yama and Nachiketa on life and death. So when the very word life and death has a very deeper sense of understanding, simply just birth and death, because no, that is not enough. But the how a person is getting the birth and death, why a person is like this, and he is different from other thing. So when we are telling that is karma theory, like we have three types of karma that is right from Veda, in Bhagavata, and all higher in Purana. That is prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, and kriyamana karma. So according to that prarabdha karma, we are getting that form of human being, and we are doing that action or karma, whatever is there. And to know the reality about what is there, what that philosophy the darshanam, when we are telling just the simple knowledge, common person, the cognition or knowledge, common knowledge, and what is the philosophical knowledge, what is the different. Philosophical knowledge is the vision to know the reality through the evidences, that is perception, maybe direct perception, maybe inference, whatever the perceptions. And everybody has accepted the perceptions, all traditions, all schools, the systems, sampradayas, they have accepted. Trupti madam has pointed out that metaphoric and that cosmology, what metaphorical life. They don't believe in this material world, but they believe that good karma, bad karma. The statement is like that. So we are formed from that 5 elements, like Kiti of Tej Maruta Bema. These Maruta Bema, these 5 elements, and these are perishable. But only the truth is that Atma, that is consciousness, that is not perishable. On that point, that the dialogue between Yama and Nachiketa, that how Atma is not perishable and what is the position, because that was the truth. A person, a being is dying. After death, what is the position? Who knows? Because the death means there the life end. Then what happens? What is means forming and the birth and rebirth. So that is the main contest of my paper. So far that life and death is concerned. So all systems they have believed, but only that Shankara has not believed. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. Then that Atma. Then hence my paper focused on the position of that life and death, or Atma, the dialogue between Yama and Nachiketa, that is in Kathopanishad. That Kathopanishad is a branch of that Katha Sakha, that is Krishna Yajurveda. And we have that Yajurveda, 2 branches, 2 Sakhas, Krishna and Shukla. And Shukla Yajurveda is concerned with Aditya, or the knowledge perceived from that Aditya or sun god. And that Krishna is that is a story, mythology, how that teacher was annoyed, and that knowledge is regained by the disciples, and that was about the Brahma Sampradaya, Aditya Brahma Sampradaya and Brahma Sampradaya. And Brahma, that is Brahma about that self or Atma. that is adhyatma. Then we have that contest about adhyatma, that adhyatmika, adi bhautika, adi daivika. And what is the beyond of that? In this way, when I focus on that life and death, and that Nachiketa disciple, when he is a son of Vajasrava Rishi, the sage, when Vajasrava is performing the sacrifice, and they are, he is just to get that Vishwajit Jagya, and he is performing sacrifice, and he is doing dana, offering everything from whatever his belongings. Even the old cows, who is very old, he is not able to give that means milk, or he is not able to eat, and that the cows he is offering, and that Nachiketa is observing in that he has that antardrishti, divya drishti, and he is the Brahmadarshi. He is asking his father. He could not bear his father's attitude. That, even that old cows, they are offered, and he is telling, I am your son, and he may have uh, he might have thinking to offer me to any other person as a donation or whatever. And he is asking, Father, to whom you want to give me? And when he is telling, I will give to you Yama. That is, Yama means that god of death. And to honor his father's word, to keep his father's word, he went to that Yamaluka. And Yama is that Brahma Gyani, and Nachiketa is Brahma Gyani, and the dialogue between Yama, and he was there for 3 days waiting. Yama was out of his abode, and he was waiting, and when he came, and he was observing by his intuition, or in knowledge, intuitive knowledge. Then Nachiketa, he just there was a dialogue when Yamaraj returned, and first was this when my father is very angry, and he should accept me as it is. And another that is blessings, like you give me the knowledge. By obtaining the knowledge, the devatas are happy, because they don't have to come back to get birth in this earth. And third, that Bora we say, then there is Brahma Vidya, Jayang Prete Vichikissa Manushe Asti iti Nayam. Arthata, some say that after that, means life is remaining and getting in a different form, and some they state that there is nothing. So in that way, Yama tried to avoid, because he is very small boy, and how he is daring to ask this spiritual knowledge. This is like adhyatmika, all this Brahma, like this Jiva Brahma, and he was avoiding. Finally, he was observed that this boy has really the Jigyasu Bhava, and he is Brahma Gyani, and he wanted to know. He has that adhikara. When we learn that prayojana, Visaya Sambandha Prayojana Adhikari, Anubandha Chatushtayam, he is the right person to acquire the knowledge, and he offered that knowledge, like what is that what happens after death. This is the discourse, spiritual discourse between Yama and Nachiketa, dialogue we can say, and this is explained in the Kathopanishad, and some in mantras, for instances, I just quote, like you might have known, because all the scholars, you read that Bhagavad Gita, that is also Gita Upanishad. Then Upanishad is again just I wanted to analyze, but this is very common, like Upanishad kui pratyaya, Sanskrit word. Upa means to near, ni, that is that prefix and sad. That is very important. Sad dhatu, the root is sat. Sat has the three meanings, different meanings. Like visarana gati avasanesu. Visarana means that is vinasa, to kill, or to remove the ignorance. That is visarana. And gati is jnana prapti, to show the right path, the knowledge. And visarana gati avasana. Avasana means to control. Control means our body, our sense organs, are our mind. If we control our mind, body, and sense organs, then we will be able to achieve the knowledge about that spiritualism or adhyatma, whatever knowledge. There was a dialogue, and finally, that what happens, what is the, my context is, what is that the conclusion, what is the stage or position of a person after death. That statement is, this perishable gross elements, five gross elements destroys. Means earth mixed with earth, fire in fire, and water with water, sky with sky, and fire with fire. And the remaining is, that is Atma. Some they believe the existence, some they do not believe. Like what nainang chindanti sastrani, nainang dahati pavakah, na chainanti kledeyapa, na susayati marutah. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित नायम भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्य शाश्वतो यम पुराण न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. Even the body, the gross element made up of the five gross element, that destroys or mixed with different their respective elements. But this jivatma, that consciousness, that definition of that Brahma, Sachidananda Chinmaya Abang Manasagusara. Sat, that is Brahma Satyam, whatever Shankaracharya rightly stated. So, Sat, Chid, always consciousness. Sachidananda, Ananda Swarupa, that is Rasavahisaha Ananda, Sachidananda Swarupa, Chinmaya, Chitmaya, Abang Manasagupar, Abang. We cannot express, we cannot explain about the form of that God, what is the position. Even Madam was telling that even gods, Orbang Deva, there is a word used, Orbang Deva, even Devatas, deities are after Brahma. So who are after Brahma, they don't have knowledge about Brahma. Abang Manasa Gochara. It is beyond of our thought, beyond of our mind, beyond of our imagination. So that is eternal, only truth. That is, we can say Brahma, we can say Bhagavan, we can say Ishvara, whatever maybe. So in my paper, I have given all the definitions, and my paper, that dialects of Yama and Nachiketa on life and death, a philosophical speculation. In this way, how I have presented and expressed. I thank the organizer, my friend, my brother, Dr. Shailendra ji, who gave us opportunity and made this platform to assemble here. So from the core of my heart, I express my thankfulness and to this university, and to all the listener and scholars, because very big scholars before us. I am very small person, and from respective points when I heard, they are trying the depth of knowledge. Actually, whatever you enter into that depth, we will feel that there is no, I don't have knowledge. So it is my pleasure, and I thank for all of your patience hearing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Niranjan Jaina ji. Any question from any participant and a scholar? If not, please go ahead.
थैंक यू सो मच सर। अभी हमारे बीच 4 बड़े बड़े विद्वानों ने अपने थॉट्स दिए डिबेट, डायलॉग्स एंड नैरेटिव्स पे। सबने सुना। सबसे पहले हमारी मैम डॉक्टर आभा सिंह ने जो डिबेट्स और डायलॉग्स पे बोला कि उन्होंने बोला, मैं डॉक्टर प्रियंका तिवारी, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फिलोसफी, एमयू, बोधगया। मैम ने सबसे पहले ये बताया कि द पेपर हैज बीन डिवाइडेड इनटू 5 सेक्शंस। फर्स्ट इज क्लासिकल इंडियन फिलोसफी थ्रू narratives. Second is explore the development of ancient Indian philosophy through dialogue. Third is deal with the importance of debate in pre-medieval Indian philosophy. Fourth is with the growth of NV plus KCK plus as full-fledged philosophy. Fifth and last is critical comments on the entire issue under discussion. सेकेंड जो पेपर हमारे बीच आया, जिससे जो थॉट्स आया डिबेट्स पे, वो था हमारे प्रोफेसर नटराजू जी का, जिन्होंने ये बताया कि द इंडियन माइंड थ्रू आउट द हिस्ट्री ऑफ दिस सिविलाइजेशंस वाज प्रीडोमिनेटली ऑक्युपाइड विद द परस्यूट ऑफ एस्थेटिक्स, वैल्यू एंड रियलाइजेशंस ऑफ द सेल्फ. The truth is characteristics as Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. The debates between Shankar and Ramanuja on Mayavad is a classical. एंड थर्ड जो पेपर हमारे बीच आया वो था प्रोफेसर तृप्ति थार, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ फिलोसफी, रायगंज यूनिवर्सिटी। उन्होंने डिबेट्स और डायलॉग्स पे उनका जो कॉन्सेप्ट था वो पुद्गल से था, जो बुद्धिज्म का। तो शी टोल्ड अबाउट इन बुद्धिज्म द टर्म Pudgal is sometimes used to refer to a person or an individual. All men and women belong to the individual class. According to Gautam Buddha, karma or duties means 3 types of kausal karma, akushal karma and avyak. Akushal karma means when a person is doing action by the motivation of greediness, selfishness, etc. Fourth paper हमारे बीच निरंजन जैना सर, प्रोफेसर निरंजन जैना सर का था। सर ने हम लोग के बीच में नचिकेता और यम संवाद को टारगेटली लिया और उसी पूरे संवाद को कि व्हाट इज कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द डेथ एंड लाइफ, इस कॉन्सेप्ट को लेके उन्होंने जो भी संवाद था और जो गीता, भगवत गीता में जो भी उपनिषद जो दोहा है उस दोहा को करते हुए उन्होंने पूरा इसको एक्सप्लेन किया कि व्हाट इज डिबेट, डायलॉग एंड नैरेटिव्स। थैंक यू सो मच। आप लोग का पेपर सारा बहुत अच्छा था, बहुत कुछ जानने को मिला। जो चीज न्यू था हम लोग के लिए वो आप लोगों ने क्लियर किया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू सो मच।
अच्छा, ठीक, गीता का श्लोक, वेरी गुड। नहीं, हमें बोल दे रहे हैं यहीं से। हाँ, बैठिए ना, क्या दिक्कत है, कंक्लूड क्या कर। ये this is how our reporter understood your paper, whether you agree with it or not, but this is how she understood it. And now you see we are getting late with our schedule, and a lot of technical discussion have taken place. So I would like to pass few remarks upon the organizing part of this seminar. You see, after a long gap, I feel pleasure to see that after a long gap, the department has revived the academic activity of its past as it has been in the past. I have been associated with this department more than 4.5 decades, and I witnessed a lot of professors, scholars who are a big name now in philosophy have come in their young age to deliver lecture in this department. like Dr. Rajendra Prasad ji, Dr. S.R. Bhatt ji, Dr. You can say Bala Subramaniam ji, Dr. Jail Saw, and many more. And Dr. B.K. Lal and Professor Y. Masi was the head of that department. And after we organized a lot of seminars, but during we organized twice Indian Philosophical Congress here in this department. Recently in 2016, 90th session it was. 90th session, we hold the session here in this department. And the present team has revived that spirit under the leadership of Professor Javed Anjum, who is very dear to me, and Professor Gautam Kumar Sinha, who is not here, and very energetic and young person. You all just know Dr. Sailendra Singh. I love him very much. And she has recently joined the department, Dr. Priyanka Tiwari, and you have just seen his expertise, his skill, and I wish her also to excel well in this field of philosophy. So, yes, I was the organizing secretary, local secretary of Indian Philosophical Congress that time in 2016. And from all over India and abroad, more than 500 delegates participated in that session. And in 99, we organized, the same department organized the session under the leadership of Professor Shukla Sinha, who is recently residing at Kolkata after retirement. So I am very pleased to see this development with the department, and I welcome and thank you all for coming Bodh Gaya. Very good deliberations I have witnessed today in this session also, and in the inaugural session also. Again, I thank you all. Thank you very much.
हम आज के शाम का धन्यवाद ज्ञापन का कोई ऐसा औपचारिक रूप से कार्यक्रम नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी जो लोग अभी तक रुके हुए हैं उनको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, और जो लाभान्वित हुए हैं जिनसे हम लोग लाभान्वित हुए हैं उनको विशेष धन्यवाद। और इसी के साथ हमारे जो सेशनल प्रेसिडेंट है उनकी इजाजत से इस सभा खत्म करने का ऐलान किया जाता है। राष्ट्रगान के लिए कृपया खड़े हो जाएं।
शुरू करिए। 1, 2, 3 रेडी। जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे। थैंक यू। कल हम लोग अर्ली अनाउंसमेंट है, जाके आप होटल में या गेस्ट हाउस जहां भी रुक रहे हैं, हम लोग 9:30 पे इधर मिलने की कोशिश करेंगे। और अंडर द